building an early lead and hanging on for a one-run win over the Astros. Tonight, Gio rejoins a rotation, nothing short of spectacular the last couple of weeks. And a chance to sweep the season series if they can pull out another one at the finish. And tonight from Nationals Park, the Nationals go for a quick two-game sweep over the Astros and a season series sweep over Houston. After last night's close call of 6-5, Houston hits town for two quick. They're out of here. Let's hope the Nationals continue their winning ways. Happy to have you with us tonight. Welcome, everybody. Nationals baseball. Johnny Holiday with FP. Bob is off again tonight. Back with you tomorrow for the start of the Atlanta series. Great news today. Gio finally off the DL. Xavier Cedeno optioned back to Syracuse. I know Gio can't wait to pitch tonight.
Yeah, he's raring to go. He's done a great job in his rehab assignments. He's can't wait to take the mound, and we see what the staff did before Gio got out there. I mean, they picked up the slack big time. 11-5 record, a 1.82 ERA. Look at the opponent's average, 2.18, and the strikeouts to walk just ridiculous. So without Gio, the staff really did their job. They picked it up, but he's going to be out there again tonight. And it's interesting that Sandy Leon's catching him. Last start May 17th against the Mets. Last win April 18th against the Cards. But his best start this year was against the Phillies, where he went 7 1/3, gave up just 4 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Sandy Leon was the catcher that day, and he's catching him here in his trip back.
Anthony Rendon is from Houston, went to school at Rice, went to Lamar High School in Houston. Boy, has he had his way with Astros pitching this year.
Well, he's 7 for 14 against the Astros, his hometown team. He had a great series in Houston. He's picked it up, 2 for 4 last night, 3 RBI. Loves playing against the hometown team. And his the last 11 games, he's hitting .339, 11 RBI. And if he goes, they go. He gets on base, they got a good chance to win.
One thing about Rendon, he's one of the hottest hitters on this ball club. The Nationals against the Astros tonight. Gio back in the hill. We're going to have that first pitch coming up right after this. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Ocean City, Maryland. How about putting your vacation days to good use in Ocean City? Book now at OCOcean.com. Another hot day in Washington today as the Nationals go after the Astros again for Game 2 of the series. Young man out there in the mound getting set to
Steal a baseball?
Deliver. That's right. Putting that
I see you working.
That's right. We got you on camera, man.
Well, hey,
get that thing back
wait a minute.
in your
Is anybody
pocket.
looking? I'm going to put this in my pocket, and I'm getting out of here.
Start of the game last night, it was 92 degrees. Well, tonight, the Train game time temperature is 92 again. Winds out of the right field area coming in 12 miles an hour. Feels like 96. Partly cloudy, no sign of rain in the forecast. Check out TrainSearch.com to find your local Train comfort specialist dealer. It's hard to stop a Train, really, really hard. Let's take a look at the Astros starting lineup tonight. Dexter Fowler lead off in center field. Jose Altuve, got to keep him off the base. 4 base hits last night, followed by George Springer. Singleton in the cleanup spot. Matt Dominguez, the third baseman, followed by Castro, who's 27 years old today. Happy birthday, Jason. Jonathan Villar is the shortstop, and Robbie Grossman, the left fielder, and Scott Philman on the mound tonight. Welcome back, Gio Gonzalez, to the Nats rotation.
Yeah, welcome back, Gio. Fastball 93. He'll 2-seam it, 4-seam it, so it'll sink and be straight. Curveball 78. Changeup, who at 83 miles an hour. He's been throwing it a lot this year. He tossed 4 innings of 1-run, 2-hit ball during Thursday's rehab start in A-ball Potomac. He walked 4, however, struck out 7. He helped the Peanuts clinch the first half title, so he had the ringer on the mound to get to the playoffs. So how about that?
What's McCarty looking for to get out of him tonight?
Well, just strikes in controlling his emotions. Everybody knows that Gio is an excitable type, so you miss as much time as he has. Last big league start May 15th against the Mets. It's going to be tough for him to control his emotions, keep the fastball in the strike zone. But like I said in the open, Sandy Leon caught him in his best start of the year, and that was against the Phillies, where he only gave up 4 hits, 1 run, and struck out 7 in 7 1/3. I'm going to show you the rest of the defense right now behind Gio tonight. Zimmerman, Spanworth, your outfield. Desmond Rendon, left side. Espinoza LaRoche, right side. And Sandy Leon behind the plate.
Yeah, the umpires work of the game tonight. Larry Vandover's got the plate. Angel Hernandez will be down at first base. Adrian Johnson at second. And Paul Nauert will be the umpire down at third base. Gio 2-0 record with a 2.45 in career against the Astros. And the Nats have won 10 of the last 11 games they played this ball club.
Now, how about Jose Altuve? Set out 3 consecutive games with the bruised hand. Came back last night and absolutely dominated. 4 hits, 2 doubles, 4 for 5. Most hits in baseball.
.416 batting average on the road since May the 30th. A tough out. We saw that last night when he went 4 for 5. Dexter Fowler takes the first pitch from Gonzalez at 7:07. We're underway, and it's a ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Jose Altuve will follow, and then George Springer, the right fielder for the Astros, will step in. And we hope tonight's ball game, FP, is a little quicker than last night. 3 hours and 41 minutes.
Well
worth it. The Nats won.
Well, no place I'd rather be. I don't care how long it takes.
Well, let's make this one 5 hours.
All right. For a win,
well, for you, because you only have to walk across the street. It's pretty simple. 2 balls and a strike to Fowler. Hitting .286 for the Astros with 23 driven in and 5 home runs. Start. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Fastball pretty good, 91 in the zone.
Looked pretty good in that bullpen session on Monday, didn't he?
They said they liked what they saw. Matt Williams stood down there, watched, and said he's ready.
Working on the breaking ball, that good velocity. He'll take it in there. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes to the leadoff batter for Houston. They come in 32 and 40. 15 wins on the road and 20 losses. Manager Bo Porter spent a couple of years here. Fowler fouls it down the right field line. Fowler last night 2 for 5 with an RBI. Yes, Houston made a game of it late with those 4 runs in the 8th inning.
Second season with the Astros. Last night, his first time back in this ballpark since Game 5 of the NLDS.
Now back on the screen. Count remains full at 3-2.
He said it was the lowest moment of his life, that loss to the Cardinals in the NLDS Game 5. But he's glad to be back. A lot of friends at the ballpark. A lot of friends in D.C.
And the 3-2 to Fowler. And Gio lost it. So Fowler gets the free pass.
Yeah, 3-2 fastball just off the plate in.
And the very dangerous Jose Altuve. 4 for 5, 2 ribbies last night. 11th game with 3 or more hits in a single game. And he is something. After missing 3 games, a triumphant return to the lineup for him last night.
Well, you pitch him away, he takes it to right. You try to get in on him. He's got such a short swing. He'll hit you down the corner. A couple of doubles last night, and there wasn't a cheapie in the bunch. He tapped to second base for an unassisted double play his first time up, and then it was 4 consecutive knocks, and here he goes again.
Double play ball. Desmond to Espinosa. Around the horn. That's it. 2 quick outs as the Nationals pull off their easy double play from Desi to Espinosa to LaRoche. And Jose Altuve, known to be going after that first pitch, retired.
Well, Ian Desmond's been playing great defense lately. Last year, after a tough April, he went 59 games without an error, settled down, and he's on his way again this year. The defense has been solid after a rough April. Made a couple nifty plays last night. One backhand play going in the hole, showing off the hose, and then a heads-up play in the ninth to get the lead out.
And Springer will sky it deep to right field on the warning track. Worth is there. Ducks out of the way, and Span will take it. And the Astros retired. We head to the bottom of the first. No score in Washington. A couple of young Nats fans probably studying that lineup card, which will go this way tonight for manager Matt Williams. Span will lead off. Anthony Rendon to the number 2 spot. Then Jason Worth, LaRoche will bat cleanup. Ryan Zimmerman, a couple of hits last night, and Ian Desmond will follow him. Espinosa, Sandy Leon catching. Gio Gonzalez tonight, and Gio, not a bad hitting pitcher himself. On the mound tonight for Washington. Scott Feldman comes in tonight 3-4 with a 3.98 earned run average.
Yeah, fastball average is 89 miles an hour. It's a 4-seam fastball, but he lives on the sinker at 89. He'll cut it back at 88. A curveball and a changeup to go with it. Last time out against the D-backs, he went 6 1/3, allowed 3 runs, got the no decision in the Astros 5-4 win, gave up just 4 hits, struck out 6 and walked 1. Opponents hitting .269 against Feldman this year.
And away from Texas, he's 1-2 with a 2.55. Denard Span, Anthony Rendon, and Jason Worth will face him in the bottom of the first. And Denard takes a pitch outside for a ball, 88. Faced the Nationals last year with the Cubs. No decision on May 12th. Gave up a run, struck out 6, and went 6 innings. Inside corner for a strike, 87.
You see the natural cut on the fastball. Last night, Denard Span got the party started, breaking up an 0 for 18 with a chopper off the plate against Dallas Keuchel. A couple of knocks.
Span at .265 with a home run and 14 driven in. And he has stole 10 of 12 bases he's attempted to steal. Leads the club in that category. And Count goes to 2-1 to the National center fielder. Washington now 36-33, and at home they're 20-15. And leaders of the National League East again. Up on the Braves, and it's 3-1. Feldman on the year has walked 16, struck out 33. And make it 17.
Oh, there's the NL East standings. Braves lost today. They got swept by the Phillies at home. They're probably either on their way to D.C. or already in their hotel rooms. The Marlins lost today to the Cubs, and the Nats are all alone in first place by a game. It's important for them tonight. They got a couple of big series coming up. Everybody talk about the Braves series, but they go to Milwaukee after that. Milwaukee, one of the better teams in the National League. So, you know, the Astros played them tough last night. They're tough in and of themselves. And then the Braves come into town for 4, and then you go to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee 3.5 up in the Central. At 43, Span is going. And the throw at second base is got him on the shoulder going by.
I think Matt Williams will come out and question that. Probably turn Adrian Johnson around, look at Randy Knorr on the bench as the clubhouse looks at the replay. From way up here where we sit, he looks safe, but we'll all check it out together.
Throw was not on target. A heck of a catch by Altuve to get the tag on him.
See if the tag got Denard before his foot got there.
I don't think so.
Very close. It's got to be definitive, as we found out early in the season.
Great camera work by our Masson crew.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
From that angle, yeah.
Interesting. Denard Span walked back to the dugout. Now he's going back to first. He's kind of caught in no man's land with the replay. And what do you do as a player? It's all uncharted waters for everybody. Do you stay on the base and say, yeah, it was safe? If you're not sure, do you walk back to the dugout? He got almost to first base, turned around and said, well, I better go back to second. I mean, it's new for everybody, right?
He will go out and discuss with Altuve about his hot hitting probably as the umpires get the word from up in New York. First challenge of this game.
Kind of an in-between reaction from the fans here. Usually if it's definitive, you'll hear a big round of applause in the background. They're looking at it on the scoreboard right now. Everybody kind of in between. And I think I am too. I'm not afraid to say they missed it and he's safe, but you watch the replay a few times and it's really hard to tell. What do you got? There's a foot.
That one looks like he's in.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah.
That might be the definitive shot too.
Let's hope New York looks at the first one.
I mean, you really got to slow it down to see where his foot is in relationship to the tag, because it's hard to watch both, right? Foot,
I say
tag.
he's in.
I mean, how does Adrian Johnson see that real time? I mean, if you want to get on an umpire, we've watched it 10, 11 times in Exmo and still having trouble deciding. I mean, it's almost an impossible call for an umpire. I mean, where does he look?
Lucky they got the replay.
How do you tell?
Yeah.
And we run at full speed. I saw it full speed 3 times and still didn't know. He's right there, looking right at it, and it's not an easy call.
Adrian Johnson, the second base umpire. Angel Hernandez, Larry Vanover, Paul Nauert.
And these guys beat themselves up when they miss a call. But in Adrian Johnson's defense, if this does go the Nats' way, he has nothing to be ashamed about. That was a bang-bang call.
Safe.
They call him safe?
Yeah, got in there. So Span steals his 11th base of the season.
And Matt Williams and the Nationals keep their challenge. Call reversed. All right, here's the 2 best angles we have. I'm watching the foot right now. There it's on the base, and there's the tag. Yeah, there's a little split in there.
Yeah.
But look at Adrian Johnson. Just the angle he has, there's no way he can tell where the foot is, where the tag is. Just a tough call. And like I said, it took us a long time to figure that one out.
11th stolen base.
I don't think in any way he blew that call. That was a tough one.
Yeah. The Span down at second. Nobody out for Anthony Rendon. 3 games against the Astros. 7 for 14. 4 doubles, a home run, 6 driven in. 2 in Houston and 1 last night here. Anthony with 2 for 4. And drove in 3 runs last night. He'll pop it down the right side. Behind the Nationals dugout. Foul. In the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Feldman pulled his last road start June 7th. After 2 outs in the second, he gave up 3 unearned runs. 2 walks and another batter. 8-0 loss at Minnesota. But then bounced back nicely at home last Thursday. Bouncing ball to third. Dominguez on to first, and he didn't make it. Rendon beats it out. That's a tough play for the third baseman, FP.
Well, it's a good read by Denard Span. You know, rule of thumb, if you're at second base, a ball hit to your right, you go back to the base. But if you read the speed of the baseball like Denard did, watch, he sees the chop off the plate and he says, well, yeah, it's hit to my right, but I can still get to third base. And Anthony Rendon smelling a single all the way. Sneaky fast, as we always say. Good read by Span. And Dominguez couldn't get Anthony Rendon, and there goes the no-hitter. Infield knock style for Anthony Rendon.
Rendon at first and Span at third, and still nobody out for Jason Worth, who brings a .284 batting average to the plate. 33 driven in and 6 home runs for Jason. Hitless last night, but a walk and a run scored.
Rendon with a huge lead.
Worth will take a ball high in the outside part of the plate. Rendon's got 3 stolen bases. And for Span, his 11th. Pretty good crowd for Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'll toss back to keep Rendon close at first.
Should be some pretty good crowds this weekend. I'd imagine some pretty loud crowds this weekend.
You're not kidding. And the 1-0 from Feldman. Anthony Rendon throws back, and Rendon gets back to first, and Worth with a count of 1 ball and no strikes. That's team batting average right now at 247. And the Astros hitting as a team .240. And the 1-0 to Worth. Inside for ball 2.
You know, early on in the season, when there was a challenge, it seemed like it had to be beyond all shadow of a doubt to reverse a call.
Right.
I mean, there were some calls in Atlanta early in the year where Nate McLeod, if I remember, the ball was in Freddie Freeman's glove. It looked like he was safe, but it wasn't definitive. That's the closest call I've seen overturned in my experiences watching the replay so far this year. I mean, this is bang, bang all the way, and this is the angle they chose in New York. This was the so-called definitive angle. You see that
and
ball?
even that's close right there.
The ball almost got through Jose Altuve's web. I'm finally seeing it on the 46th replay.
Last year, Feldman split the season between the Cubs and the Orioles. That's fouled out of play. The count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So the defense for Houston tonight behind Scott Feldman. Grossman, Fowler, Springer, your outfield. Villar, Dominguez left side. Altuve, Singleton right side. And Jason Castro behind the dish.
Scott Feldman pretty impressive last year. Opponents only able to hit .234 off of him. This year they're hitting .269. Rendon gets second. Worth strikes out. You got runners at second and third with 1 away. First strikeout for Scott Feldman.
Yeah, pretty good curveball to Worth. Started on the outer half, broke it off the plate. Rendon guessing off speed, gets a huge jump. And we talked about it last night. If you're half a base stealer with the new rule and the no third to first move, you don't really have to wait around to see if he's going to do the double move. You get a great jump. You pick an off-speed pitch. Jason Worth way out in front. Now the stage is set for LaRoche, and we'll see if Bo Porter pitches to him.
Rendon picks up his 4th stolen base of the season. And LaRoche with a .296 average. McSpann at third and Rendon at second and one away. Bottom of the first, no score. And LaRoche will sky one to left field. Drifting back is Grossman. Got a beat on it. Spann tagging up at third, and he will come home easily and score. And the Nats take a 1-0 lead.
Sac fly, nicely done. Just watching batting practice today. Probably the hottest day of the year here. The heat index 97 degrees. And the ball flying all over this ballpark. And we talk about it. In my opinion, no park in baseball plays bigger when it's cold, and no park in baseball plays smaller when it's hot. And LaRoche just got the barrel of the baseball. It carried far enough to put the Nats up by 1.
RBI number 35 for LaRoche. That's one base hit here in the bottom of the first, but taking advantage of the walk. A couple of stolen bases. Ryan Zimmerman had a good night last night, too. Zim's average creeping up to .264 with 13 driven in, couple of home runs.
Yeah, double to left center, first time up, RBI. Double to right center, second time up, RBI. 2 for 4.
And scored a run as well. 1 ball, no strikes to Zimmerman, 2 down. And it's 2-0.
Now it looked like a little backup cutter / slider thing. That's not where he wanted to throw it.
Feldman's given up 6 home runs this year. The opponent's hitting .269 off of him. Behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. His 12th start of the season.
I'd say green light, but I don't remember Ryan Zimmerman ever swinging on 3-0.
Nor do I.
And Rendon just walks into third base.
Zimmerman takes the pitch for a strike.
Watch this. Nobody around. 3-0. I always say it's the best count in baseball to steal on. Whether you're on first or second, nobody ever pays attention to you. Interesting that they don't give that a defensive indifference. There wasn't a throw. Nobody covered.
Well, Rendon stealing 2 bases this inning, 4 and 5. On the year, count is full to Zimmerman. Chance for Ryan to make it a 2-0 ball game with a base hit. When the count is full, you see his numbers. Like to make this 5 RBIs with a count 3-2. Missed outside, and Feldman with his second walk of the inning.
That was not an easy take for Ryan Zimmerman. That pitch looked like a strike all the way. He saw it low. And I thought that Nats did a nice job last night off Dallas Keuchel of elevating his fastball. A guy that leads the world in ground balls. They got him up and did some damage. Go deep inside the numbers with Scott Feldman. First 3 starts. Everything looking good. Last 8, excuse me. Not quite as good.
So Feldman faces now Ian Desmond. Desmond 2 triples, 8 doubles this year. Leads the ball club in RBIs with 43 and home runs with 13. They'll take it outside, and Feldman having trouble getting in that zone. Scott, 31 years of age, from Hawaii. 6'7", 230.
There's the Zimmerman. Puts it on his hand now to protect his thumb that he broke in Atlanta. And he can also bake a cake with that. Take out some cupcakes, cookies, whatever. He doesn't have to ever worry about burning his hand while he's playing baseball.
First time this year the Nationals have stolen 3 bases in 1 inning. 1 game. Rendon is at third. Zimmerman at first. Spann had His 11th earlier in this inning. Got the Nationals' only run so far. And the 1-0 to Ian Desmond. In their first strike, 89.
Now, Feldman a 1.5 to the plate. That gives you plenty of time to steal second base if you're a plus runner. And the one thing I've noticed about Ryan Zimmerman since he's come off the DL, he's not real crazy about sliding. That's how he got hurt. Last night, a close play at the plate where he ran through the plate, didn't slide. And he's had some opportunities to steal. And he'll do that if you don't pay attention to him. He can steal the base. But that involves sliding.
Desmond ahead in the count at 2 balls and a strike. Nationals with a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. A long first inning. And Desmond takes a strike in the outside corner, 90. Feldman's thrown 25 pitches in this inning. And it's not over yet. Desi check swing, but he went through. And Feldman records his second strikeout. We head to the top of the second at Nationals Park with the Nationals leading it 1-0.
Gonzalez back today after a month on the disabled list with left shoulder inflammation. Matt Williams was asked earlier today what he wanted to see from Gonzalez early on that would indicate that his left-hander is back on track after a lengthy stint on the DL. He said he wants to see Gonzalez keep the ball down in the zone as well as finish his pitches and get it to his glove side. That's inside to right-handed hitters and away from lefties. Gonzalez struggled with his command a bit on his rehab assignment. He walked 8 in 7 2/3 innings over those 2 rehab starts. But the Nats feel that if he can keep the ball down, if he can finish his pitches, get it to that glove side, he'll have a good chance today against the Astros.
Well, especially to right-handers, if he makes you aware of that fastball in the low to mid-90s on the inner half, you really have to cheat to get to it because you talk to hitters that face Gio. It's got that late life, that giddy up, that jump at the end. And whenever he's down and in and establishes the inner half to right-handers, look out.
And a 1-2-3 first inning against the Astros. Singleton and Dominguez and Juan Castro will face him now. In the top of the second. Previous 3 starts before he went in the DL. While he was in the game, he had no offensive support. Breaking ball inside. And it's 2 balls and a strike. But what a big addition he's been, FP, to this ball club. Has the highest team winning percentage on the club at .647, 22 wins and 12 losses. That breaking ball outside, 3-1, 75.
Well, the off-speed stuff's all about feel, and you would think when you've missed as much time as Gio, it's going to take him a minute to figure out the curveball changeup combo and maybe even the fastball.
And Gio gives up his second walk. He walked Fowler the first. Now he walked Singleton to lead off the second. Fowler erased in a double play.
Well, Tanner Roark, going back to last night, didn't have his great command. I don't want to say he didn't have his good stuff because his curveball was outstanding. He really leaned on it and just basically won with guts last night.
Really battled, didn't he?
But the one thing he did great is the shutdown inning. The Nats would score 2 and he'd go out 1, 2, 3. The Nats would score another 2 runs in the third inning and he went out 1, 2, 3. And that's what Gio Gonzalez is trying to do right here after the Nats put up a candlestick in the bottom of the first.
And the Astros third baseman, a double, a run scored, RBI last night, went 2 for 5. Driven in runs for Houston. RBI 5 of the last 8 games. And behind the count, no balls and 2 strikes. Took a little something off that one, and he's gone. And Gio gets his first strikeout of the night.
A nice changeup right there, Dominguez for strike 3. This is a guy that's got pull side pop. He's as quick as anybody on the inner half. And Gio Gonzalez, look at the pitch track. Everything away. And a 1, 2, 3, get your glove.
And that's that Nissan pitch track. Great camera work. Dominguez retired. Juan Castro, the Astros catcher, will step in, hitting from the left side. 27th birthday is today. 1 for 4 last night. Hitting .223. And he's got Singleton down at first. Eight of his last games, Castro's hit safely. Had some success throwing out 11 runners attempting to steal, but not tonight.
I tell you what, it's been a game and some change, but talk about John Singleton and his knowledge of the strike zone. Very impressive in the at-bats I've seen him so far. Not afraid to go deep into counts, not afraid to take his walks. Definitely not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. And he took some hacks last night that made you flinch. He does not get cheated.
Leon gets him at second base, trying to steal. Singleton is out. What a nice rifle throw by Sandy Leon.
Well, got rid of it quick, and it's something he worked on in the offseason. His catching and throwing skills, and he's improved immensely. And watch this. Pretty good jump by Singleton, but not a good pitch to handle. Leon gets rid of it quick. Good tag by Ian Desmond. And there was no argument from Singleton, and Desmond threw it around quickly, but what a throw by Sandy Leon.
Third runner he's thrown out this season.
Great footwork, got rid of it quick. Just get it in the air, and look at Desmond coming way from the left field side just to tag him on the thigh before the foot hits the base.
And that takes the Astro off the bases. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. And the side retired. So Gio Gonzalez off to a good start tonight. He's faced 6 batters, and the Nats have down a 1-0 lead. We head to the bottom of the second.
To the bottom of the second inning. Nationals Summer Catch 4-packs have just been released. You can pick any 3 Nationals game, get a 4th game, and a New Era cap for free. Visit nationals.com/summer and get your pack today. I think they make those things up to try to make me mess up. Summer Catch 4-pack. You say it 5 times fast.
Yeah.
Watch this one.
They're testing your enunciation.
I feel butcher this.
Doing a nice job.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You're very welcome. 10 pitches for Gio the first inning, 6 were strikes, 23 in the second, 13 in the zone. And with a 1-0 lead, we go to the bottom of the second here at Nats Park. Bob Carpenter back with you tomorrow night for the Braves who come to town. Big series tomorrow night, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. Danny Espinosa, Sandy Leon, and Gio Gonzalez will face Scott Feldman. Espinosa bunting for a base hit. I think he's going to make it. The throw, errant throw, bounces off the screen in front of the Nats dugout, and Espinosa's on.
I'll tell you, that was perfect. And it's not by mistake. Danny Espinosa comes out early, probably 3-4 times a homestand with a machine, and practices this very bunt. I mean, the key is you got to get it by the pitcher. Once you get it by the pitcher, you got a chance. Jose Altuve did everything he could to make the play, but Espinosa already passed the bag, and by the time he realized the throw was going toward the dugout, he was too far down the right field line. See him catch it out front, and just try to bunt it to the second baseman. That was perfect.
Sandy Leon steps in for the first time, hitting 188.
7th base hit bunt of the year for Danny Espinosa. 7. Brett Butler would have been proud of that one.
I'm sure he would have. Leon, the switch hitting catcher. 238 from the right side, 148 from the left side. Feldman gets it in there for a strike, and it's 1-1, 88.
Feldman speeding up his delivery a little more out of the stretch here in the second.
This last Wednesday, recall from Syracuse with Wilson Ramos on the DL. Hitting pretty good for the Chiefs. 294, 5 doubles and 6 driven in. In 15 games, a bouncing ball to second. Altuve is going to try to go with a force at second and got it. And there's 1 down.
It's a good play by Altuve to get the lead run. Good change of runners for the Astros. Although, and I'm not going to say for a catcher, Sandy Leon runs well.
Got to bring up Gio Gonzalez with a 143 average and got a home run to his credit and 2 RBIs. And then Gio on the season is 2 for 14. He'll try to bunt it and pops it up to Singleton at first. And there's 2 quick outs. And take a look at the PNC minor league report. PNC Bank for the achiever in you. Well, Blake Treinen down at Syracuse, 3-0 now with a 2.17 in 29 innings. Has not given up a home run, only walked 6 and struck out 23. And in 8 games with the Nationals, came very close to winning a couple of those games, but unfortunately 0-3.
Yeah, he pitched well enough to win a bunch. He'll be back.
I was just going to say that he'll be back sometime this year.
He's going to be a good major league pitcher for a long time. 96 to 98 with Sink plays anywhere, anytime.
Spanish scored the only run of the ball game in the first inning when he walked and came around. Hitting 265. With 2 down and Sandy Leon at first base. That pitch is outside. 89.
Look at that number. Let's go inside the numbers with Jeep. Nats are 26-5. When Denard Span scores 1 run, look at what happens when he scores 2. 11-0. And when he and Anthony Rendon score together, They're 426-0. It's a new record.
Somehow I don't believe you. Line drive to right. Span's got a base hit. Leon's got to try to go to third. What kind of an arm has Springer got? Ball is cut off, and Leon slides safely into third, and Span's on for the second time tonight. Runners on the corners now.
Well, Denard Span heating up again, and right at the right time. Yeah, every time I go by the cage, when you go from the clubhouse to the dugout, you can look to your left and see the cage. Denard Span's in there, tireless worker, hitting the tee, taking flips. A lot of the guys chose to hit in the cage today because it was so hot they didn't want to spend their energy on the field in batting practice. They had that option, but a pretty good throw by Springer. If it was on line, maybe Jonathan Villar lets it go. Had a chance to get Sandy Leon going to third.
And the catcher hustling all the way. Had to bring up Anthony Rendon. Got a base hit and 2 stolen bases in the first inning.
And not that they would have pitched Denard Span the same way had Espinoza got to second base and Altuve decided to go to first base and get Leon. But that was a big play by Altuve, you could say, to save a run.
That's threatening once again. Rendon up for the second time. That ball's outside for ball 1. 35 pitches thrown so far by Scott Feldman. And we're at the bottom of the second at Nationals Park. Rendon picking up a couple of points in his average, up to 273. And it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, Denard's trying to get a jump right now. It'll be interesting to see if Bo Porter decides to throw through. You saw Jason Castro come out and go through a set of signs. That was the first and third defenses that he was given to his infield. You know, regular, you'll throw through and try to get the out before the run scores from third. Some teams will have their middle infielders cheat up on a throw to try to come back to home plate and get the guy at third. Another play is you just fake pump and go to third, or sometimes you just eat it and don't throw it all.
And Feldman with the check of the runner, Span at first base. Leon down at third. That pitch in there in the inside corner for a strike. And the count is 2-1. Rendon from Houston went to Lamar High School, Rice University. Had a big Anthony Rendon day a couple of years ago for him down there. What a terrific kid. Outside corner for strike 2.
That's just a good pitch by Feldman. You're ahead in the count as a hitter, 2-1. You're looking for a mistake. You're looking for something right out over the plate. Little run back fastball just caught the corner, and you really don't want to offer at that. You just got to tip your cap and now battle with 2. That was a good pitch.
On the Mercedes-Benz pitch track. A lot of 2s in the board now. 2-2 with 2 out. And a chance to pad this 1-0 lead with Leon at third. And Span at first. Span is going. They'll throw to second, and he's safe at second. Second stolen base of the night for Denard Span. And number 12 on the season. Got a great jump, FP.
The 4th stolen base of the night for the Nationals in just an inning and 2/3.
So we got Span down in scoring position. Good look at Leon taking a lead off third, and Span taking a lead off second. And the count is full to Rendon. 3-2. Bouncing ball to second. Altuve backs up. Fires to Singleton. Got it. And the side is retired. Nationals striking but can't score. We go to the top of the third. And a 1-0 Nats lead. Ago, 1-0 as we head to the top of the third at Nationals Park. President Obama came out to the ballpark to watch Stephen Strasburg, and this day 4 years ago, pitch against the Chicago White Sox, and Stephen struck out 10, did not disappoint the president, in 7 innings did not get a decision. That's our Volkswagen moment in history. Flash you back.
Well, you remember opening day 2010, came out through the first pitch, definitely had the wrong hat on, but I've seen a lot of lefties make a lot of money with that toss right there. I would say VHS for the president, below hitting speed on that fastball.
Well, you know, the president's a basketball guy,
and then
right?
He came back later in the year unannounced to watch Stephen Strasburg, and we haven't seen him since.
Got to get him out here.
Gio Gonzalez throws just a little bit harder.
Jonathan Villar trying to bunt on for a base hit. We know the president is a big basketball fan. Came out to a Maryland game last year when his brother-in-law was coaching Oregon State. And had a chance to shake the president's hand.
Well, if he's not going to come out with you in the booth doing play-by-play, he ain't coming.
No, he'll come when Bob's back, believe me. Pitch outside, and he tries to bunt again. No balls and a strike. Oh, no balls and 2 strikes. Jonathan Villar from the right side hitting .246, the left side .185.
I've done that before, Johnny. A guy bunts against you, and you're standing out there on defense, and you say, that's a pretty good idea. I'm going to try that.
Pops it foul behind the Nats dugout down the first base side.
Especially when you make it look as easy as Danny Espinosa did.
He does, doesn't he?
On that one, for sure.
Robbie Grossman on deck for the Astros. Then Scott Feldman as Gonzalo delivers. 40 pitches and 22 strikes for Feldman his last inning. And Gio's pitch count up to 27 now. In the top of the third. Line drive to right. Worth trying to run it down. That'll be past him and off the wall. They are heading for second. Had a notion to go to third. Quickly puts on the brakes, and it's a double for Jonathan Villar to lead off. And the first Nats hit. Or the Astros' first hit of the game.
Yeah, 9th double of the year for Villar, and this might give you an idea about how the ball's carrying. I mean, a nice stroke on the barrel, but look how far this goes. Almost to the warning track, and he was thinking about 3, and I was kind of hoping he'd go. I wanted to see Danny Espinosa throw that.
Probably knows that Danny's got a pretty good arm. Robbie Grossman facing Gonzalez for the first time, swings and fouls it back on the screen.
Well, the guy that knows that Danny Espinosa has a good arm, besides Villar, is Pat Listash, the third base coach. Yes. He had both arms in the air saying, whoa.
Grossman hitless last night. A call from AAA Oklahoma City on May 26th. Gio with a pickoff play at second, and getting back, barely getting back, is Villar.
Well, he was rolling. He was timing up Gio Gonzalez. He took a jab step to third base, and Desmond went in behind him. Watch the inside move by Gio, but watch Villar in the background. He's going. Whoa. And then he does the inside move. Desmond sneaks behind him. And he just gets back.
They almost got him. And the 0-1 pitch to Robbie Grossman.
Well, just the inside move by Gio Gonzalez will slow down a base stealer. Now, just because Gio picks up his foot, you can't go to third base because you have that in your head now that he might do that again.
Now the Astros shortstop down at second with a leadoff double. And Gonzalez delivers another foul ball down the right side out of play. And the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
All right, first 15,000 fans, ages 21 and over, you guys get a bottled cup presented by Miller Lite Friday, June 20th against the Braves. Giveaway will be distributed at all gates while supplies last. Go to the website, call the number on your screen for more details.
And the 1-2. Inside, count even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, you would think Gio Gonzalez, who at times struggles with his command, would take a minute tonight to knock the rust off. But it hasn't been bad so far.
No, he hadn't.
Just trying to get to that glove side strike with the fastball.
Off the outside corner. Ball strike 3, and Gonzalez racks up his 3rd strikeout. Grossman gone for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, just a fastball right down the middle, and Robbie Grossman obviously looking for something else. Maybe thinking about a 2-2 curveball.
It'll bring up Scott Feldman. A lot of zeros alongside his name. Breaking ball way outside at 91.
Interesting that Bo Porter's letting his American League pitcher swing away right here with 1 out and a runner on second base. Dexter Fowler on deck, fast enough for an infield single, and you would think with 2 outs it would be advantage to have your runner on third base versus second. Especially when you don't get to hit every day because you're an American League pitcher. Maybe Bo knows something about Feldman's bunting skills that we don't.
Yes, obviously he does. Gio faced the Astros a couple of times, beat them both times. In 3 career starts, he's 2-0 with a 2.45. Heading the count to Scott Feldman. His mound opponent, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We got 1 out in the top of the 3rd.
Good block.
Nice check swing by Feldman. And the count's even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. You give Gio Gonzalez more than 2 runs of offensive support, he's going to get you the win. 63, 62-2 in 77 career starts. That's foul back out of play. And that's got him 1 so far. Has not pitched since May 17th against the Mets. Shoulder problems have cleared up, and he's ready to go.
Feldman hanging in there nice.
Just going to mention that.
He's putting a good at-bat on Gio Gonzalez right here.
Battling pretty good.
I think one more Uncle Charlie might do it here. Meaning a curveball. There it is.
You knew that, didn't you? And Feldman strikes out. Gio's 4th of the game. And a big out with Fowler down at second base.
Well, after the strikeout, what a better time for Toyota K's for Kids. DC area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families by making a donation of $37 to the Children's Inn at NIH for every strikeout by Nats pitcher this season. So that curveball right there worth $37.
Now the top of the order to face Gio now. Dexter Fowler, Altuve, and then George Springer. Johnny Holiday in for Bob Carpenter tonight. Bob back with you tomorrow night. Happy to be alongside FP Santangelo. You're in a nice evening for baseball on Capitol Street, downtown Washington. And quickly Gonzalez gets ahead of Fowler, who walked in the first inning. Switch hitter hitting .348 from the right side. And .265 from the left. And the center fielder hitting .286, and off with a pitch went VR. Ball is popped up behind first. LaRoche has got it. And Gonzalez out of the inning. And the Astros remain scoreless. We head to the bottom of the 3rd. It's 1-0 Nationals. Brent LaRoche Zimmerman coming up.
Life's most important connections. 1-0 Nats heading to the bottom of the third inning. A lot of running going on here on a very warm night at Nats Park. Denard Span started it with a walk, then he stole second base. It was a reviewable play. They would look at it. Denard Span ruled safe. Then Anthony Rendon steals second base. So that's the second stolen base. Rendon would steal third. That's the third stolen base. And there's number 4 for Denard Span. And how about the Nats controlling the running game? Sandy Leon got a tough pitch to handle, got rid of it quick. And that got John Singleton at second base for the second out of the second inning. So 4 stolen bases for the Nats. That's the most since last September.
Really?
They also stole 4 bases.
Giving Jason Castro a workout tonight behind the plate. And thus far, he's not having a lot of success in throwing out Nats runners. 13 for 16 off Scott Feldman. Wow. Hadn't picked off a runner yet. Jason Worth will lead off the third against Feldman. Then Adam LaRoche and Ryan Zimmerman. Nats have 3 hits. The Astros 1. They got the first one the last inning on that base hit. First of the game for VR. And Worth will take a call strike on the outside part of the plate. 89. 42 pitches thrown thus far for Feldman. And Jason way out front of that one. No ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's a pitch he struck out on first time up. That curveball down away.
Even though Worth not making contact and getting base hits, he's been on base a lot. 11 straight games.
Well, you think you go back to the well right here with that curveball away.
And the 2-2. Outside and away. And again, it counters pulled again.
Tried to, but it never was a strike. That's an easy take for Worth. It never started in the strike zone. He recognized the rotation and spit on it.
Now the full count for Scott Feldman. And Worth will take ball 4. When Feldman issues his 3rd walk of the night. That'll bring up Adam LaRoche for the 2nd time. Sacrifice fly in the 1st inning.
That's great. I got the folks at home, Johnny, playing along with me on Twitter. They just tweeted me that the Nats are 196-0 when Denard Span steals 2 bases. See, I got them thinking right.
You got them right.
They like making up
right.
stats.
They love it.
They love it.
That. LaRoche hitting .296 with 35 driven in. And he's got LaRoche to Worth down at first base. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Ryan Zimmerman on deck. And then Ian Desmond.
The one thing I've really loved about how Matt Williams runs a game offensively is he lets his guys steal when it's there. You know, most teams that have the aggressive philosophy, they just run. It's run till they tag you. It's hard to watch sometimes because you're thinking, well, what are they thinking? This guy's a 1-1 to the plate. There's no stolen base there. When the stolen base is there, they'll take advantage of opportunity. But they never force the issue. And that's Matt Williams' philosophy offensively, that if it's there, we'll take it. And if it's not, we're not just going to run into outs. And you got to love that.
4 stolen bases tonight. And LaRoche behind in the count, 1-2. Worth the lead off first. And LaRoche is gone. That's the 3rd strikeout tonight for Scott Feldman.
Let's go back to last night. Ryan Zimmerman, this is his first time up. Kind of elevated fastball from Dallas Keuchel, 91 miles an hour. Hit off the left center field fence. That scored Anthony Rendon. Then his second time up, he goes the other way. Shot it in the gap in right center field. That scored Jason Worth. Great send by Bob Henley. He saw the throw going into second base. He kept Worth rolling at third base, who was on first. So 2 for 2 to start the night last night. 2 doubles, 2 RBI.
And since Ryan's come off the DL, the ball club has won 9 of 14 games. Reinstated June 3rd after being on the DL for 15 days. There goes Worth. Is this stolen base 5? How about that, FP?
Well, I don't know if he made it or it was the tricky slide with his feet. It's tough to tell. And I don't know if Altuve stuck the glove down and Jason Worth gave him the 1 foot, 2 foot deal. Let's check it out. It looked like he slid short to me initially. Altuve misses the tag. Look at, he's still not there. Oh, and he might have got him on the knee before his right leg got there.
Great camera work. Watch this again.
Hard to tell from that angle. The first angle was outstanding. Does he get him on the thigh before his right foot gets in there? Can't really tell from there, but what an athletic play by Jason Worth.
That'll be 5 stolen bases off Feldman tonight. And Jason's got his 5th of the year. Another Nats runner at scoring position down at second with Jason. Pitch way outside. And the count goes to 2-1 to Ryan Zimmerman.
5th stolen base in the bottom of the 3rd with 1 out. That's a good month for a lot of teams.
You mentioned the most stolen bases in one game in how long?
Since last September when they stole 4. Worth looking to go again.
And Feldman having trouble now getting in that strike zone. A lot of pitches, 54, and we're in the 3rd inning. And the count to Ryan is 3 balls and a strike. Good look at Bo Porter. Spent a couple of years here in Washington on Jim Riddleman's staff and Davey Johnson's staff. Check swing by Zimmerman. Went through and it's 3-2. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes and 1 down. Worth down at second. Bob Henley, the third base coach, watching him intently. Ball is fouled back out of play.
Well, it's been the run of the Taggy offense tonight. Most steals in the game, July 8th, 2012, 6 bags. And you see the rest. 1 away from a DC franchise record since 2005.
The crack Masson Research Department on that thing like that, huh?
They're awesome.
Unbelievable.
They had that ready at noon today, just in case
just
they stole
waiting.
5 bases.
In the first 3 innings. Zimmerman. Altuve, great catch at second base. Rob Zimmerman of the base hit. And there's 2 away.
Well, we talked about Altuve last night. You pitch him in, he'll hit it to left. You pitch him away, he'll hit it to right. Ryan Zimmerman, same way, but this is a fantastic swing and maybe even a better play by Altuve. 5'5" Jose Altuve, all-star and probably the MVP of this Astros club. Said it last night, and maybe you weren't listening. For you kids at home, you don't have to be big to be a superstar in the big leagues. 5'5", and he's one of the best players in baseball.
Kid's only made 2 errors all season long at second base.
Leading all of baseball in hits.
Yep. Now with 2 away, and Worth still down there at second base. 1-0 Nationals lead. Not a lot of hits in this game for either ball club. 3 for Washington, 1 for Houston. That'll bring up Desmond for the second time. Strikeout victim back in the first. 1 of 3 for Scott Feldman. That breaking ball misses. Desmond hitting .233. Walked 21 times. RBI leader 43. Home run leader with 13.
Good arm in left, good arm in right. Decent arm in center. Springer can really throw in right, though.
Nationals trying to make it 7 of their last 8 in the win column at home. And sweep this season series from Houston. That pitch in for a strike. Yandy Espinosa on deck, then Sandy Leon.
Ian Desmond frustrated that he didn't let it hit him. That was no reaction to the pitch being inside. He's just frustrated that he didn't let the ball hit him. You know, watch the reaction from Ian Desmond. This isn't, what are you doing throwing at me? It's an off-speed pitch, but in his mind, he thought he should have let it hit him.
Been hit 3 times this year already. And the 2-1 from Scott Feldman. In their first strike. The way Feldman's going at, he's not going to be out there long with 61 pitches already.
No, hottest night of the year. Lots of fastballs from Feldman. Pitch number 62 coming.
92 degrees at game time. Same as last night. And hardly any wind at all around Nationals Park. Line drive up the middle, base hit. Worth around third. Let's see what come on that Fowler has. The throw to the plate. Too late. And it's a 2-0 lead, and Ian Desmond with the RBI. That's number 44.
But you can take all the stats in baseball, and, you know, all this analytical stuff is good at times. And I like breaking down baseball from that standpoint, and I'm coming around to it. But to me, the most important stat in baseball is your batting average with runners in scoring position. How clutch are you? I mean, you could throw the batting average out with Ian Desmond. We had the stat the other day, and I can't recall it right now, but of his 13 home runs, it seemed like almost half of them gave the Nats the lead. And 2-hard RBI right there. Great piece hitting up the middle. Jason Worth trying to catch his breath right now in the Nats dugout. I would imagine when he gets sweaty with all the hair he has, he probably gains about 10 pounds during the game.
I was going to say, no question about that.
Most guys lose 10 pounds in a game like this.
39th run scored by Worth this year. Gives Gio Gonzalez a 2-0 lead.
But it was interesting just hearing Mike Matheny this past weekend in St. Louis and how he manages a game. Batting average, where you hit in the order, status on a ball club really doesn't matter to him. The one stat he really looks at in the dugout is how do you hit with runners in scoring position, and that's how he determines who they're pitching to and who they're not. And Bo Porter, after 5 stolen bases, finally decides to pitch out.
And a wise choice by the Astro skipper. A little H2O.
Guy plays hard every night, man.
Every night.
Brings it every night.
Yep. Worth the RBI, the toss back to first. Desmond back in time. Nationals' 4th hit of the night. And again, Feldman to check of the runner at first. That's Ian Desmond. After his 44th run driven in. Espinosa goes opposite field and just barely in the stands, foul, then bounces back out. Danny from the left side hitting 199. Much better from the right side at 276. He's got some pop, though. 6 home runs already. And 17 RBIs. Nationals trying to build off last night's 6-5 win, when Houston made it a game with 4 in the 8th.
That was a 6-5 come from a head win.
That's right. Coasting along pretty good at 6-2 at one point.
Desmond's leaning big time. Just went back a little bit.
I just want to see if they get to that 2012 stolen base record.
Well, Ian Desmond's back-to-back 2020. He's on his way with the home runs, but he only has 5 stolen bases. So he's got 7 home runs to go and 15 stolen bases to go, and that's my University of Miami math at its best.
And your education down there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, first class all the way. There's the pitch inside. Got a friend of mine in town for the week from Miami, Florida. Remembers you playing for the Hurricanes down there.
Well, that's a good memory.
Wanted to meet you in person, but I said it cost him. Big fan of yours when you were in school down there. You got some good teams too, didn't you?
Yeah, we went to Omaha.
Yeah. There goes Desmond. Nice grab at first base by Singleton, the unassisted putout. And the inning is over. We go to the top of the 4th at Nationals Park. The Nats have got a 2-0 lead on Tuve and Springer, and Singleton next to face Gio Gonzalez.
The Nationals in home runs and RBIs, but his defense has really come around the last couple months. Desmond got off to a rough start defensively, committed 8 errors in the Nationals' first 20 games of the season. But since then, he's made just 5 errors. And this really mirrors what Desmond did last year. It's actually surprising to see him start so slowly, but he did it in 2013 as well. You see there what he did in 2013, 7 errors in his first 20 games, and then after that, just 13 the rest of the season. Actually, after he made his 7th error, he went 59 straight games without committing an error, ended up getting nominated for a Gold Glove for the 2nd straight season. So while Desmond seems to have problems defensively early on the first few weeks of the season, he has a history of putting it together after that and going on a roll.
Thank you very much, Dan. We go to the top of the 4th inning at Nationals Park. And Gio Gonzalez working in a 2-0 lead. And a neat little one-hitter in his return off the DL.
Well, somebody needs to tell Ian Desmond that opening day is in May next year and just trick him into thinking the first month of the season is May. I just think he's a rhythm guy. He gets into the flow of a season. He gets into the rhythm of the everyday part of baseball, and it takes him a minute. Early on in the season, you're trying to find your way. It's a new season. A lot of times you want to have that I'm going to get out of the gate attitude and hit 400 in the month of April and make the All-Star team the first week. And it's usually the guys that care about winning the most that go through that. And it takes them a minute to settle down, get into the flow, get into the routine, to where it just becomes a baseball game. And it's the everyday part of it. We've seen it now for 3 years. I think if you go back to 2012, it's the same.
Altuve with a pop behind third. Rendon can't get to it. Neither can Zimmerman. Was he like that with the Oakland A's too, FP? With Oakland? Asking about Gio Gonzalez.
Yeah.
When Gio was with Oakland, he won 15 games, 16 games. And with the Nationals, a couple of years ago, at that 21-win season. But there's a lot of guys in this ball club. Outside of Desmond, Espinosa gets in a streak. Worth gets in a streak. Zimmerman certainly gets in a streak. But you having played at this level, I mean, it's got to be difficult to maintain that over an extended period of time.
Well, in my opinion, the one thing that separates major leaguers from minor leaguers is consistency.
Right.
You can go down to the minor leagues on a given day and watch anybody play and say, he's ready, call him up. This guy's a big leaguer. But what you learn how to do at the highest level is to do it every single day at the highest level.
Now, Altuve, that'll be foul. Leon will let it go.
And that's kind of a learned characteristic that as you play all these games in the minor leagues and you develop as a player, you learn how to do it not just 3 days out of 7, not just 4 days out of 7, but 7 days out of 7 to bring your A game. And that's the part of the developmental process, and most major leaguers have that. You'll always have streaky hitters. If that's the characteristic you have as an offensive player, the Nats have some of those guys. When they're hot, they're the best hitters in baseball, and when they're not, well, they're just not.
Is it mostly a mental thing?
You just don't want them all on the same hot streak and the same cold streak. You hope you can break that up a little bit, and that's, you know, how you remain consistent as a ball club.
Kind of what happened in San Francisco, wasn't it? Last game against the Padres and the Giants. Is it mental, though? Mentally tough to do that?
It is. There's a challenge to be up for every game for 6 months, every single day. But you learn how to do it, and that's just how it is.
And one of the toughest outs in this ball club, Altuve, battling Gonzalez. He has the count full at 3 balls, 2 strikes. You know, Altuve with a .325 batting average. Nats have stolen a lot in this game, stolen bases. Altuve's got 24 for the year.
And that a dude with a little souvenir. And Jose Altuve putting some kind of at-bat on Gio Gonzalez right now.
The 11th pitch coming. Inside, gets a walk. And the 3rd issued by Gonzalez in this game. So Altuve leads off the top of the 4th with a base on balls.
It's about right. 65% fastball coming into tonight.
19th walk Altuve's received this year, and Gonzalez going to keep him close because he knows he could go. Only been caught stealing 3 times.
Got to be careful here on the first pitch. George Springer likes to swing and swing early.
Springer fly to Span in the 1st inning. And Altuve back. Nationals with a 2-0 lead. We're in the top of the 4th inning.
I think in a 1-run game, Altuve might be thinking about going with all his stolen bases this year. But in a 2-run deficit with the thump coming up, he might hang out.
Check swing, and that's in there for a strike. Springer with a .250 batting average, .249 now after that first inning fly ball to Span. And Gio quickly heading the count to him. 2 balls, no balls, and 2 strikes.
When you talk about the young players hitting back-to-back in the Astros lineup, George Springer, John Singleton, neither one of them gets cheated. I mean, they swing from all 4 cheeks and both heels.
Leon poised to try to throw to first base. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Astros right fielder, George Springer. RBI leader for the Astros with 36. And Gonzalez hits it.
Well, this is where you generally see Adam LaRoche come to the mound, Ian Desmond come to the mound. They know that something is like that can really rattle Gio Gonzalez. You see Ian talking to Gio right now, trying to calm him down, but he tried that fastball in, and Springer didn't move, and it was way off the plate.
Only the second batter the Gio's hit this year. But that'll put the Astros in runner in scoring position. Altuve down at second now. And the dangerous John Singleton in there with Dominguez on deck. And we've got nobody out in the 4th inning. Well, a nice breaking ball, but it's high. One of those young guys you talked about, FP, in this team, only 22 years old. John Singleton.
Pretty good knowledge of the strike zone. Good swing. Pop to all fields.
That ball just barely misses inside.
That might have buckled Larry Vanover. Tried to bring it back. The way Sandy Leon caught it, he thought it was a strike, and Gio definitely wanted the call.
When Singleton recalled, he led the Pacific Coast League about 3 different categories. That's in their first strike.
That's a huge pitch. I mean, you go 3-0 right there after you've hit a guy and walked a guy. Now you got a strike. It allows you to relax a little bit, get back in the strike zone. But there's a dangerous hitter up.
He had the 2-1. 91.
Well, that was a good fastball down the zone, turned it over. Pretty good sink on this 2-seamer. Watch the late movement. Looks like a strike, looks like a strike, go to swing, drops out of the zone.
So far in this 2-game series, 1 hit and 1 walk. The hit came last night. The walk came in the second tonight. And the count even at 2-2. Bouncing ball past Espinosa. Altuve had to wait at second to see if Danny was going to catch that ball. And the bases are loaded with nobody out. Springer down to second.
Well, Gio Gonzalez in the middle of a serious high-stress inning all of a sudden. A walk to Altuve, a hit by pitch with Springer, and then a base hit by John Singleton. So bases loaded, nobody out. I'm not sure why Altuve went back on that ball. You could tell it was going to be a ground ball. I guess better safe than sorry, down by 2 runs. And now Steve McCatty out to try to settle down Gio on a hot night. And who knows how many bullets he has left. 63rd pitch of the night coming from Gio.
Let's go down to Dan for a moment and take a listen to the pitch count, that he's got some numbers for you.
Guys, Matt Williams said before the game that Gio Gonzalez would be good for up to 100 pitches if he wasn't having stressful innings. He threw 79 pitches in his last rehab start at Single A Potomac. So the Nats felt comfortable with him going up to 100 as long as he was going along okay. But Gio's had some stressful innings. It's a muggy, hot night out here tonight. You see he's thrown 62, but that pitch count's rising quickly, and I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe around later on in this inning, depending on how things go, or next inning, the Nats start getting that bullpen ready as that pitch count elevates.
And as we look down out to that Nationals bullpen, there is some activity out there. A couple of guys stretching and flexing their arms. And with the bases loaded, Gonzalez has his work cut out for him now.
You wouldn't think conditioning per se would be a problem from Gio Gonzalez. I mean, he missed a month, plenty of time to get his running in and get his conditioning straight. You just wonder how the shoulder is reacting to, you know, having to reach back and redline right now to figure a way out of this mess.
Dominguez with a check swing, and the count is 2-0. Did he go through?
No.
No. Now Tuve at third, Springer at second, and Singleton at first. Sacks are loaded with Astros. Bouncing ball past the Astros dugout, foul.
Might have been ball 3.
Juan Castro and Jonathan Villar next. And Gio trying to work himself out of a huge jam in this 4th inning. Only given up 2 hits. They've thrown 65 pitches now. Line drive over Desmond's outstretched glove. 1 run will score. They're going to wave in the 2nd run, and Springer will score. And this game is tied at 2. 2 RBI base hit for Matt Dominguez.
A good at bat by Dominguez. That ball was roasted to left field. And a bold read by George Springer on second base. And he was down there, probably saw it a lot better than we did up here, but he just took off like there was 2 outs. That allowed Pat Listach to send him and tie this game up. Great wheels by Springer. And just like that, we start this one all over again.
A 2-2 ball game with Juan Castro, the Astros catcher, and still nobody out here in the 4th. Dominguez with RBIs 33 and 34. And Detweiler begins to loosen up in the Nationals bullpen. Houston, taking advantage of only 3 hits in this game, have tied it at 2. That ball down the left field line. That's fair. That'll score a run. Rounding third and heading for home. 1 run is into. The Astros have got a 3-2 lead. And still nobody out.
The line definitely moving for the Houston Astros here in the 4th. A walk, a hit by pitch, a base hit, and now Jason Castro adds the first extra base hit to the list with a double down the left field line to put the Astros up by 1. Nice piece hitting by Castro, and all of a sudden the Astros are figuring out Gio Gonzalez.
And the 5 and 6 hitter in the lineup, both guys producing with RBIs. That's 31 now for the year for Castro. Altuve, Springer, Singleton have all scored. Dominguez down at third now with Castro at second. And Desmond's going to come in, and thought he was going to come in and have a couple of words with Gio for a moment. Infield is in and still nobody out. That'll bring up Jonathan Villar.
Interesting to see if Bo Porter goes contact play up by 1. Nobody out, infield in.
Breaking ball, that's inside.
I mean, seriously.
The Astros shortstop had a double in the 3rd. So he's 1 for 1. Fly ball to left. Zimmerman drifting back. That could score a run. Tagging up Dominguez at third. He will score. The Astros have a 4-run 4th, and they lead by 2.
Well, they're putting some good at-bats on Gio right here. Nice job by VR right there. Get it deep enough to score the 4th run. And we saw last night the Astros showed the Nats they can score in a hurry and in bunches. I mean, it happened quick last night, and it's happening quick here again in the 4th.
And Gio's pitch count up to 70 now. Swinging a high fly ball down the right side. Worth on the run. And staying at second is Castro. And there's 2 down. As Grossman retired.
The first 25,000 fans will receive a Nationals cap presented by Masson on Sunday, June 22nd against the Braves. Giveaway will be at all gates while supplies last. Get your game tickets by calling 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/tickets. It's a nice looking lid. I want one.
Make it 2.
I want one. I'm going to put it on backwards in the bottom of the 4th.
Turn that rally cap around.
Sure.
Held up for the second time, struck out in the 3rd. One of 4 strikeouts tonight for Gio. One ball, no strikes to the Astros pitcher, looking for his 4th win of the season. And only a 2nd on the road in 5 starts. And like Houston did last night, battling back. They couldn't take the lead last night, but they have tonight with a 4-2 lead. Astros catcher down at second. Fouled off to the right side. And the count runs to 1-2. High pop behind the plate as Leon got a play just out of play.
It was interesting with Gio's rehab. The first time out against Potomac, his control was all over the place, and understandably so. But after that, Matt Williams said, well, maybe if he would have dealt, we would have activated him, but we want him to get one more start.
And that was a good one, too, against Winston-Salem.
Well, the first one wasn't.
No.
He walked a lot of people. He gave up a grand slam. The last one a little bit better, where he walked 4, but he deemed himself ready. And it's probably going to take a few starts to knock the rust off, but the Astros have been on him, especially after that hit by pitch to Springer.
And Feldman the strikeout victim for the 2nd time, but not before. Houston pushes across 4 runs, and they take a lead of 4-2. Welcome back to Nationals Park. Johnny Holiday along with FP Santangelo. Astros taking a lead with those hits, the 3 hits in that 4th inning. They lead the Nationals now 4-2 as we head to the bottom half of the 4th. And our Geico President's Race tonight. Out of the gate, they're going to meet a stranger right about there.
It's a tug of war, but I just see a rope. I don't see anything but a rope.
Yeah.
I don't even see any presidents. Oh, there they are. They have camouflage on. I get it.
3 go down. And Teddy and George will race for the finish line. And Teddy's going to win it.
Teddy wins it by a boiler.
Yeah. Bottom of the 4th for the Nationals. Down by 2. Sandy Leon will lead it off. And Gio in that second spot to face Feldman tonight. Remains to be seen if they're going to pitch hit for him, and then the top of the order again with Denard Span. 77 pitches for Gio and a 35-pitch 4th inning. Leon pops to first. Singleton's got it, and there's 1 down.
Boy, ideally, when your pitcher is out there, as long as Gio Gonzalez was on a hot night, you want to have some long at-bats.
And he's going to hit.
And see some pitches to give him a chance to catch his breath. And if you're going to swing early in the count, that's a big gamble because you want to be on base. I've seen guys take 2 strikes when a pitcher on a hot night has had to work as hard as Gio Gonzalez did in the 4th.
A lot of pitches thrown, 35. He'll bat for the 2nd time. No activity in the Nationals bullpen. Now the 0-1, it's 0-2. Feldman has walked 3 and struck out 3, giving up the 2 runs and the 4 hits.
All right, folks, you know the drill. Let's see your photos. Using hashtag #MASSonFanPhotos, chance to have it shown to broadcast. That's brought to you by AT&T.
And the pitch to Gio. Low for a ball. Even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's got some work to do now. The first time they met down in Houston. They took both those games. Gonzalez with a good eye there, and it's a full count again, 3-2.
Gio giving himself some rest here with a good at-bat.
The Phillies have already beat the Braves today. That pitch called strike 3 in the outside corner. Feldman with his 4th strikeout of the night.
Little run back fastball, 91 miles an hour. Everything down the way to Gio. This one right on the corner for strike 3. Looked like Feldman was frustrated that it took that long.
That is his 5th strikeout of the night. Came into this ball game walking only 16 and striking out 33. He struck out 6 against the Orioles back in May. Near the top of the order, Denard Span with a walk. A stolen base, 2 stolen bases, and a single. And a run scored. He's batting .268. That pitch inside. Melman's gone 7 innings twice for the Astros this year. Once against the Angels, once against the Rangers, but that was back in April. And the 1-1.
Boy, I'm looking at my scorecard from last night, and the 4th inning's almost identical. Jose Altuve led off last night, 4th with a single. Springer singled. Singleton singled. And then Tanner Roark struck out Castro. Took a ground ball off his foot from Dominguez, a run scored. Got Villar to pop up shallow to left, and then struck out Grossman.
Almost identical, yeah.
They both started out the same with 3 runners aboard. Different results here in a different night.
Yeah, the 1-2. Check swing. And the count's even at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the Astros going to battle you, aren't they? They won even their last 11 games on the road. And as we saw last night, at 32-40. Bouncing ball to short. They are on to first. And there's 2 down. But that's 3 outs. That inning is over as we head to the top of the 5th, and Houston with a 4-2 lead. We head to the top of the 5th at Nationals Park. Happy to have you along with us tonight. The Honda do-ups tonight when you take a look at who's going to face Gio Gonzalez. It'll be Fowler, Altuve, and Springer. Last inning, the Astros sent 8 hitters to the plate, resulting in that 4-run 4th. And Gio back out to work. His 78th pitch is outside for a ball.
Let's see if Gio Gonzalez can make the adjustments on the fly and keep it at just a 2-run deficit.
And let that Nationals bullpen take over, who leads Major League Baseball with a 2.54 run average. Astros have their 5th base hit of the night.
That's a nice play by Denard Span to keep Dexter Fowler at just a single. He was thinking about going for 2. Span sprinted over to left center field, cut the ball off, kept it from going to the wall, and actually kept Dexter Fowler to just a single. Watch the play by Span. This is the perfect angle. At one hopper, this ball's heading for the fence. Span over, grabs the ball, spins, throws, and Fowler took a huge turn at first base. And he was thinking about 2.
Denard Span committing only 1 error the entire season, and playing a super center field. And the pitch to Altuve is high for a ball. Into a 6-4-3 double play in the 1st, walked in the 4th. Average at 325. Dexter Fowler at first. Every inning at FP, the Astros have gotten their leadoff batter run in this game. Fowler walked in the first. Singleton walked in the second. Double by VR in the third. Walk by Altuve in the fourth, and a base hit here in the fifth by Dexter Fowler. And the 2-0. That's in there for strike. That's got some action out there in the bullpen again as Ross Detwiler up and throwing. Altuve fouls it back, and the count even up at 2-2. Good look at the Nationals left-hander. 0-2 on the year with 1 hole. Altuve shot down the third base line, just foul.
Which is such a tough out. Throw him in, he's pulling it. Throw him away, he's going the other way. Quick hands on the inner half.
Kid doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, does he?
None that I've seen.
23 years old opening day. And as FP was talking last night, a generous 5'6", maybe 175.
Well, he plays like he's 6'5".
I was going to say. Made the All-Star team a couple of years ago in 2012. And the count runs full at 3-2. Came up in 2011 and immediately began to knock the ball all over the place. Hit 276.
Trying him up in the zone, or maybe just wild high at this point.
Brought behind second. In comes Span. Out goes Espinosa. Who's got it? And he takes it, and there's one away. And a big out for Gio Gonzalez to get Altuve.
You can experience a Nats game at the next level by enjoying it from a Nationals Park suite. Options include the party suites, the luxury suites, and the all-new Silver Slugger suite. For more information, call 202-675-NATS or visit nationals.com/suites.
George Springer next to face Gio Gonzalez. Hit by pitch his last time up. And that fourth inning for the Astros, and then flew out his first time to Denard Span.
Well, I think Matt Williams, and this is obvious speculation, wants Gio Gonzalez to feel good about his first outing back in over a month, going into his next start, and that's why he sent him back out there again, to try to fix the mechanical flaws that he's had tonight, get back in the strike zone, and end on a good note.
With his confidence. Worth going back, over the shoulder grab, and quickly hustling back to first base is Dexter Fowler.
But right now he is not fooling anybody. This ball absolutely smoked by George Springer. Nice play by Jason Worth. Got a good read, good angle, all the way to the warning track. Gets it in quick. Nice play by Worth, and the ball definitely carries that part of the ballpark. That's the runway here on a warm night, right center field.
90 pitches so far for Gio, and 58 of those strikes, 32 balls. Going to bring up John Singleton. He's looking for his second base hit. Houston first baseman, check swing. It's in there for strike. Singleton came to the Astros from the Phillies along with Garrett Cosart, Josh Zeid, and that Hunter Pence deal back in 2011. Shot down the right field line. It's foul. In Long Beach, California, John Singleton. Rated by Major League Baseball and Baseball Prospectus, the top first base prospect in baseball. Hitting .245 with 4 home runs and 10 driven in. The ball may be high out of the zone, but he swung and missed, and he is gone. Singleton strikes out. That's Gio's 5th of the night, or 6th of the night. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. 4-2 Astros. By the DC Lottery. The DC Lottery presents the Friday Fun Concert Series at the fairgrounds. That's 2 hours pre and post game every Friday. It's fun to play the DC Lottery. 4-2 Houston leads as we're at the bottom of the 5th here, top of the 5th. Bottom of the 5th, Rendon will lead off, and then Worth and LaRoche will follow.
Well, their third look at Scott Feldman, and they've been seeing him pretty good tonight. Feldman's done a nice job of averting disaster. I mean, he's kept his ball club more than in the game. He's in line for the win right now, where early on it looked like it might be a short night for Feldman. He's made some big pitches when he's had to.
And Gio in his first game back off the DL has thrown 91 pitches, 61 of those strikes, and his evening may be over. As we look down at the Nationals bullpen, the Astros only have 5 base hits off Gio tonight, 4-5-0, but the Nationals have only 4 off of Feldman. And Rendon has 1 of those with a first inning single. And the 1-1.
Well, that was a mistake right there. Pretty good hack by Rendon, just a hair out in front, but he got a hanger. Season high 106, tonight 83, averaging almost 93 pitches a game.
Rendon bounces the ball foul down the left side. Count remains 1-2.
There he is. That's how Anthony Rendon looked last year when he had the mullet.
Isn't that the truth? Anthony, the last 14 games, been smoking the ball 19 for 56. Fouls it down the right side. And he's driven in 11 runs over the last 14 games. Three last night.
And trying to keep the ball down away to Rendon, but that's really plays to his strength. Shook off a fastball in, shook off a slider, shook off a fastball away. Now he's going to a curve.
Misses outside and high. Rendon, Jason Worth, Adam LaRoche in the Nationals' 5th inning. And Feldman delivers. Caught the outside corner of the plate. And Rendon strikes out for the first time. That's number 6 for Scott Feldman tonight.
Well, Feldman's doing a nice job of keeping the ball down. You look at pitch track on the right-hand side, everything at the bottom of the zone. This one to Rendon had a lot of plate. Maybe Anthony thought it was down. But that's where Feldman's been living all night long when he's been good. And he has been good. Just 4 hits.
And Jason Worth fouls it down the left side. Best game that Feldman's had this year at Texas. He only gave up 2 hits to the Rangers, lost it in 12. 1-0, no decision for him. And went 7 innings. Minnesota gave up only 1 hit, but got knocked around and only 1 2/3 and 3 unearned runs. And then last start against Arizona, gave up 3 runs and 4 hits. Worth today with a strikeout, a walk, a stolen base, and a run scored. ...106 pitches he threw against the Orioles. Right now he's up to 89. Worth on base now, safely 12 straight games.
Feldman just consistently away with everything. The fastball, the off speed, living on the outer half. Shaking off the fastball, and he's feeling comfortable the glove side.
Well, since the Nationals not having a lot of success with Feldman tonight, if they can get him out of here somehow and take some shots against their bullpen.
Yeah, the 29th bullpen in all of baseball. So you think if you can stick around, keep it a 2-run deficit, you have a chance if you're the Nationals. Those guys are thinking differently, though.
And 5 of those guys pitched last night. That's fouled out of play. Downs and Sipp, Farnsworth, Zide, and Jerome Williams. Only 2 guys who did not was Chad Quarles and Paul Clemens. 6th time tonight Feldman's gone to a full count. Rendon struck out, 1 down. Worth with a shot to right, that's going back. And Springer, before he got to the warning track, holds it in, and there's 2 down.
Well, I thought that ball was carrying farther than that. Had the sound, the ball's been carrying to right field all night long, and you're thinking, well, this one has a chance. Got an elevated cutter, belt high, drives it to right field, but Springer goes nowhere in this. I thought at least that was off the wall, maybe in the stands, but it didn't even get to the track.
Well, Feldman now has retired his last 6 Nats he's faced.
Got fooled by the sound.
Adam LaRoche up for a 3rd time. Base hit to left. The shift was on, overplayed to the right side, and he takes advantage of it and goes left field.
Well, that's why he's almost hitting 300, 298, maybe 300 after that at bats. Because he's used the whole field and he's taken what the game's give him. If they pitch him away, he's going to left field. Not in pull mode all the time, so you look at the pitch, it was on the outer half. LaRoche letting it get deep. And there's just some sick joy that I have every time somebody beats the shift. I don't know. I just love it.
You talked about that.
Absolutely.
You don't like that, do you?
I get such a little thrill out of it. I have issues.
Perfectly placed hit by LaRoche. So the Nationals get their first base runner in the last couple of innings. Zimmerman walked and lined out.
And the part where I really get excited is when it's where somebody's played for 130 years, but they're not standing there anymore. I mean, it happened a few times. I watched the Braves-Phillies games today where there were shifts on and a routine ground ball to shortstop and nobody there.
Zimmerman a base hit. Back-to-back hits now. That's got something going. Worth at second. Zimmerman at first with 2 down. And that'll bring to the plate Ian Desmond.
Well, this is
so the Nats chipping away at Feldman now.
Right in Ian Desmond's wheelhouse. This is the at-bat he loves. We've seen it happen a number of times where the Nats have been down by 2. He's hit a 3-run home run this year. They've been down by 1. He's hit a 2-run blast. His home runs, for the most part, have been meaningful, and he loves the first pitch. 424, 2 home runs, 6 RBI.
Yandy Espinosa on deck, and a visit to the pitcher's mound again by the Astros pitching coach.
And while maybe I'm thinking about big things as you look at Josh Side, you know, base hit right here would be great too. Make it a 1-run ball game. Ian Desmond lined a single to right last time up. Looking for something elevated that you can drive.
Brett Strom has made his appearance out there in the mound with a visit. And here we go. Desmond will take a call, strike on the outside corner. Zim at first and Worth down at second with 2 down. And the opportunity to make this a 1-run game or more or less. The 1-1 to Desi. Foul down the right field line.
We got a pitch.
Sure did.
Little cutter.
LaRoche down at second base and Zimmerman at first. And the 1-2. Foul down the right field line again. Out of play.
And the fact that he got to that pitch and fouled it off is impressive. Pitch number 101, a fastball, 89 miles an hour, higher than high, above the letters, and Desmond fouled it off. I'd be surprised if they try to go up there again.
The Astros do have some activity out in their bullpen. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 4-2 game. Breaking ball missed inside.
Trying to take advantage right now. It seems like Scott Feldman all of a sudden's on fumes.
Get him out of there. And Castro wants to go out and talk to his right-hander.
See if they go no sign right here. Adam LaRoche been standing out there for a minute. Go out there. Huge pitch coming. You want to make sure you're both on the same page and that there's no funny business going on behind you. At the very least, it relaxes your pitcher and makes him confident in what he's about to throw. He doesn't have to worry about anybody seeing what the sign is.
Now here Desmond steps back in.
Yeah, no sign.
And the pitch, Desi, high fly ball to right. Springer drifting back. He'll have this one. And the Nats are retired. Threatening, but could not get a run across. We go to the top of the 6th. 4-2 Houston here at Nationals Park.
With a single, Gio Gonzalez done for the night, and Matt Dominguez, big 2-run knock in the 4th inning where the Astros scored 4 runs. Let's go back to that 4th inning. We talked about both nights of 4th inning being very similar. Last night the Astros loaded it up with nobody out. Tanner Roark gave up just 1 run. And then Castro doubles down the line, and Gio Gonzalez try and do the same tonight. Didn't have the same luck that Tanner Roark had last night.
So Gio's work is done for the night, and Ross Detwiler comes in out of the bullpen. In the Astros top of the 6th inning. Opponents hitting .315 off Ross this year. Looking for his first win of the year. Wants to keep this thing close in the 6th.
Fastball's been averaging 93 for Ross this year. Curveball 78, and the changeup 84.
And he'll face Matt Dominguez to lead off the 6th inning. Then the catcher for the Astros, Juan Castro, and Jonathan Villar. Dominguez a strikeout, got that big 2-run single and a run scored in the 4th inning. And they plated 4 runs. Detwiler 83. And the count's even up at 1 ball and a strike. Ross did not pitch last night. That ball is fouled down the right side.
He's had trouble, quite frankly, adjusting the bullpen. I mean, pitched some of the biggest games in Nats history as a starter. Did a great job at, you look at his innings pitched, just 14 innings in April. May he only pitched 8 2/3, and so far in June he's pitched 4. But in baseball, you have to deal with the hand that's dealt to you and find ways to adjust, and it's been a process, and he's been making the adjustments on the fly.
Yeah, 2 years ago he won 10 games. 2-7 last year. Left-hander from St. Louis. And Dominguez has gone on strikes.
Well, that was a good curveball right there by Ross. 79 miles an hour, started off the plate away. Dominguez gave up on it. Watch it come back. The whole sequence on the outer half, and that one turns pitch track just on the corner for strike 3. Good downward action to it. Good bite. Nice pitch.
Gio Gonzalez charged 4 runs and 5 hits in his work tonight in 5 innings. Castro 1 for 2 night with an RBI double in the 4th. And Detwiler misses outside to him. Last year was a tough year for Ross, wasn't it, FP, with all those injuries he suffered?
It was. And you can make an argument that this year's been tough so far,
Sure,
but
yeah.
there's a long way to go. 90-plus games left, and things can turn around in a minute.
Ross, first pick of the 2007 first-year player draft. Check swing, that's in there for a strike. The Detwiler now to the bullpen. Throwing 8 pitches, 6 for strikes. On deck is Jonathan Villar, the Astros shortstop. That ball is ripped foul down the right side. Astros haven't got a lot of hits. They've only got 5. The Nats have out-hit them, but they made those 5 really count. Nobody with more than 1. But Dominguez did the big damage, that 2-run single. He's 1 for 3. Bouncing ball fouled again behind the Nationals dugout.
Well, the problem for Ross has been the white uniforms at home. He's pitched 13 innings here at Nats Park, 13 1/3. His ERA 7.43, and the average against 3.62. On the road, he's been good, 2.57 ERA, 2.59 average against.
And a golden opportunity to keep this thing close tonight. There's a shot down the left field line, and that ball is foul, barely in the left corner. Jim tosses up to a fan, and Castro heads back to home plate. Big series coming in town beginning tomorrow night, FP.
It is. Braves are in town. Probably in the hotel room already. 7 o'clock start tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on Friday. Fox game on Saturday. I'll be somewhere in the bleachers. And then Sunday, a 1:30 start. Then you travel up to Milwaukee for a set against the Brewers, the first place Milwaukee Brewers.
On the road at Arizona tonight, the Brewers out there. The Braves have already lost today. The Nats love to get this one to extend that lead to a 1.5 games. There's a pitch inside to Castro, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 away here in the 6th. 4-2 Houston. Villar will follow. Bouncing ball back to Detwiler, right through his legs, but Espinosa there to throw it to LaRoche. He gets the runner. Well, a nice play by Desi. And there's 2 down.
Little smile from Ross Detwiler. I think he got fooled by the changeup and the broken bat. Thought he had it. This ball went past Detwiler, almost hit the rubber, almost hit second base. And Ian Desmond picks it up and throws it to first. A lot going on that little broken bat ground ball.
No, 2 up and 2 down.
Ross not going to the backhand, trying the forehand, and it didn't work.
He gets Dominguez. He gets Castro. Let's see if he can get Villar.
Boy, when you're that close, you know, I wouldn't know from experience. I've talked to pitchers. You think it's a bullet right off the bat, even though it has that funny sound, and you're going self-defense mode, and that's your first thought, self-preservation. And then when you realize it wasn't hit that hard, you're in an awkward position to make the play. I've seen it happen a million times.
And the 0-1 pitch. Almost got him inside. Villar dances out of the way. Robbie Grossman on deck for the Astros. Houston banging out 14 hits last night in that loss, but tonight with their 4 runs, they've only had 5. Bouncing ball to Adam LaRoche. Nice job for Ross Detwiler coming out of the Nationals pen. A 1-2-3 6th inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Nats need some runs, trailing 4-2. The Nationals that may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals.
Right-hander Josh Zidon for the Astros heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. 4-2 Stros. Remember, our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers are donating $250 to Children's National Medical Center for every home run a Nats player hits this season. So keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
Scott Feldman done for the night. Feldman with 5, gave up the 2 runs, the 6 hits, struck out 5 and walked 3. And here comes Josh Zide out of the pen for the 2nd consecutive night.
Yeah, lefty's hitting .455 against Zide. 3/4 fastball, 94 on average. He's got a slider coming the other way at 86 and a changeup at 84. 3-pitch guy. Well, we talked about it. The Astros bullpen, they've had their struggles.
Zide pitched 1/3 last night, struck out 1, and a .253 earned run average. Danny Espinosa, Sandy Leon. See what they can do against the Astros reliever. Danny 1 for 2 in this game tonight. Bottom of inning number 6, and it's 4-2 Astros. Ball fouled out behind the plate. Nats about hit the Astros by 1 again. Same as Houston. Nobody has more than 1 base hit. Span, Rendon, LaRoche, Zimmerman, Desmond, Espinosa base knocks tonight. Danny from the left side with a .199 batting average. And Josh Zide on the hill for Houston.
Everybody trying to get on the same page. Espinosa thought Zide was taking too long. Something happened right there, and here we go.
Zide 6'4", 235. Perfectly laid down bunt, and he beats it out. Espinosa does it again.
That's his 8th base hit bunt of the year, 2nd of the night. And if you're having confidence in that, why not? This one to Jose Altuve, who's playing him deep. You see Singleton kind of wandering for the baseball, and you're just wondering if Danny Espinosa was going to step on John Singleton right there. But a nice move, nice athletic move by the Stros first baseman, and leadoff man aboard here in the 6th, and game on. Here we go.
Sandy Leon up to try to move the line. And Russ Detwiler in the on-deck circle. Nationals have their 7th hit of the night. Espinosa has stolen 5 bases this year.
Well, Detwiler's standing on deck right now, but Nate McLouth ready. It looks like he might have just got the call. Nobody up in the Nats bullpen, though.
And the count. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Bat Boy's ready to hit. I know that. He doesn't
Greg
have his
Dobbs.
gloves on that, though. But Greg Dobbs does.
Only 2 hits shy of 100 pinch hits in his career. Leon goes left field. Long run, and it's just into the stands. And the count's 1-2 to the Nats catcher.
All right, here's your fan photo brought to you by AT&T. A couple of Nats fans with great seats at AT&T Park in San Francisco, traveling all the way across the country to watch their ball club play. That's some serious attitude, boys. Way to go.
You're not kidding. That's sticking with the ball club no matter where they go. And the 1-2. They on a swing and a miss. And there's one down. And Zide with his first strikeout of the night.
Pretty good slider there at 86 miles an hour. And Ross Detweiler going to have a talk with Bob Henley about what to do right here, right now. I think it's pretty obvious. You bunt Danny Espinosa along and hope that Denard Span can knock him in. And it doesn't have to be a perfect bunt with the speed of Espinosa. Just get it down the dirt. Let Danny take care of the rest.
Ross will step in against Zide. With a runner down at first base, that's Espinosa. Squares up the bunt. And they'll keep Danny close at first.
Now that throw over just for Bo Porter to see if Ross Detweiler was squaring.
Lays it down. Back to Zide. Looks at second. No play there. They're out at first base. He got the job done. Nice job for Detweiler.
It didn't have to be pretty. You knew you had good wheels at first base, so Ross just bunted it back to the pitcher. And Danny Espinosa took care of the rest to get some high fives. He goes back to the Nats dugout. And nicely done by Ross Detweiler, who out of the bullpen really hasn't practiced that a whole lot. And hasn't done it a whole lot.
So he gets a runner in scoring position down at second, and Danny Espinosa. And with two down, back to the Nats top of the lineup with Denard Span. Span scored the Nationals' first run tonight. Wirth's got the second run. That's all they got. And the pitch, foul back out of play. Denard walked, stole a base, scored a run in the first. Another stolen base in the second after a single. Then grounded out the last time up in the fourth.
Astros outfield very shallow for Span. Espinosa is going to have to boogie if he's going to make it on a sharp single.
Line drive to right over the head of Springer. That'll score Espinosa easy. Rounding second, heading for third, and out at third is Span. But he gets the run in, and it's a one-run ball game.
Well, big knock by Denard. Never make the third out at third, but it was a great relay by the Astros, and all of a sudden you got yourself a one-run game. But talk about some giddy-up. He was getting it around at second base, and they just got him at third for the third out. Span just did what a number of players will do, and I've done a million times. Watch Span the bottom. He hesitates because he thought it was caught right there. There was just a little bit of hesitation. And you kind of get into that mode where you're looking out. Is he going to catch it? Is he not going to catch it? And then maybe better off to stay at second base as the tie and run, but he thought he had a triple, and the Cardinals didn't never making the third out at third just happened, but a big RBI to make this a one-run game.
Hit Altuve, the cutoff guy, and he fires to third, and he got him, but not before the run is scored, so it's a 4-3 ball game. And we go to the top of the seventh. Detwiler out for his second inning of relief. Robbie Grossman will lead it off. Strike out in the third for Grossman, then flew out. In the fourth, the Jason Worth. He's behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes. That's trying to make it 2 straight of the Astros tonight, welcoming in the Braves tomorrow night for a big weekend series. And this park ought to be packed every single night. Count is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Robbie Grossman. Switch hitter from the right side. Almost identical numbers to the left side, both under 200. And the count is 2-2. Detwiler misses outside, and the count's full. Grossman, one-time member of the Pirates organization. And Detwiler lost him. So Grossman leads off the seventh with a walk.
Nobody going to be frustrated with Ross Detwiler if he goes out there and gives up hits, but when you just score a run, if you're in the first base dugout, that can be frustrating. A leadoff walk.
And Josh Zeid will hit for the first time. Infield in. Thought he's going to lay it down. He takes a strike.
First career at bats. Way up in the box. Trying to lay down a bunt, and you wonder how many times he's actually practiced this.
Probably not a lot.
Well, touched on a little bit last night. That's where I think American League teams are at a huge disadvantage in these interleague games. When it gets to the 9th spot, they lose their DH. You have pitchers that are basically fish out of water.
And you probably can't do it in batting practice, taking BP before a game.
Well, especially if you're a reliever. Relievers really, on National League teams, rarely work on bunting. And you saw that attempt right there. I don't know how excited he was about trying to get the bunt down. He's trying, though.
And the 1-2 from Detwiler, a throw to first, and Grossman gets back quickly. 4-3 ball game. We're at the top of the seventh here at Nats Park. Johnny Holiday in for Bob Carpenter. Bob will be back with you tomorrow night, along with FP Santangelo. Happy you're joining us tonight on MASN. As the first place Nationals trying to stay in that spot. Guido trying to lay it down and unsuccessful. And he is gone. So Detwiler strikes out his second batter. And back to the top of the Astros lineup at Dexter Fowler.
Well, I mentioned it already a few times tonight. Fowler, much better hitter right-handed than he is left-handed. Walked his first time up, ground out to first, and a sharp single last time up.
Right side almost hitting .350. And Leone will go out and talk with Detwiler about the sign. Jose Altuve is on deck. One thing about Fowler, he can get on base for the Astros. He is 5th in the American League. On base percentage, .389.
And nobody up in the Nats bullpen. This is all Ross Detweiler's inning all the way.
And he's done a good job thus far. Nationals got a run back for him. Trying to get Gio off the hook, coming off the DL. Count is even. 1 ball and a strike, 1 out. And that pitch, and 892.
Larry Vanover's like the outside corner for everybody tonight, and this is a perfectly placed fastball right on the edge as it turns pitch track like it always does on a strike. For strike 2. Johnny, just to show you how sharp I am, it took me, I think, until this year to realize that when pitch track turns, it's a strike. When it's close.
And that's what, 4 years?
Yeah. I just look at the first shot, and if it kind of catches the corner, or actually I look at the box and see if it's in the zone, but when it turns, that means it's right on the corner. Not the sharpest tool in the shed.
The book, I was just saying, the book says it may take him a little time to grasp it.
Like 10 or 12 years if he's lucky.
Grossman back to first.
I'm not afraid to admit.
Of course not. Nor am I.
That I'm dull. At times.
I got to tell you something.
It's all the modern technology. I'm not good at it.
I know you hate to hear this, but you and Carpenter do a great job.
Thanks.
Believe me.
Thanks.
It is not easy.
Well, it's because of him. He's the best.
Well, you guys together are a great team. Great team. And the Nationals lucky to have you guys calling these games. Believe me. You don't know how tough it is till you're sitting up here in the seat. This is not easy.
Not easy. You're doing a great job.
There's a fly ball to center. Span drifting back. Grossman going halfway to second. And a big out recorded by Ross Detweiler.
The Peanuts don't have a pitch track, but they have all kinds of fun stuff going on at the Fitz. You can get fireworks night, bobbleheads each month. You can eat kids for free on Sundays, $1 Mondays, and much more. Go to PotomacNationals.com or call the number on your screen.
The number 703-590-23. ...
I don't know.
So Detweiler 1 out away from getting out of this inning, with Grossman at first and Jose Altuve. The Nats have done a pretty good job keeping him off the bases tonight after last night's 4-for-5 game. Second baseman's average at .324. 24 RBIs and 35 runs scored. For a little guy at 5'6", 175, at 2 home runs for Altuve.
.413 against lefties this year. 31 for 75 coming into tonight. 7 doubles and a homer.
And you're looking at the guy that leads the major league in hits. .94 coming in. No ball to the strike to the second baseman for the Astros. Springer next, and then Singleton.
I know what Matt Williams is thinking, and it goes back to what Davey Johnson used to think as a manager, that your B bullpen, your behind bullpen, is just as important as your head bullpen, your A bullpen. And last night he used Drew Storn, and he used Tyler Clippard. And he's thinking the other guys down there have to be able to keep it at a 1-run or a 2-run deficit. And if you remember back to 2012, the guys that came in when the Nats were behind to keep it right there to give them a chance to get back into ball games were every bit as important as the guys that came in with a lead. That's how they had so many comeback wins that year. I think they led all of baseball in come from behind wins or walk-off wins. And it was because of the, quote, air quotes, you know, no slight inability, the B bullpen to keep the game right where it's at to give the offense a chance to win.
And that's Russ's job right now, and he's doing it. 2 balls and a strike. To Jose Altuve. Grossman takes a lead off first, pitches outside. Now it's 3-1. After Altuve, Springer also a tough out.
I mean, if you want to win a championship, you have to get quality innings from the guys that come in when you're down by 2 or 3 runs.
And the Nationals bullpen has proven that they are able to do that. That pitch is strike. Count is full now. 36 pitches for Detwiler in his second inning of relief. And a big one coming up to Altuve.
Huge pitch in this ball game.
You're not kidding. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. 1-run game. There goes Grossman, bouncing ball to second. That'll be a quick play for Espinosa. He didn't get it. Altuve got that great speed and barely beat out the throw to first base. And a base hit for Altuve. His first of the night, but it moves Grossman all the way around to third base.
Well, keeping the inning alive with the infield single and some hustle. You see where Espinosa's playing, just a chopper in the hole. Adam LaRoche knowing the range of his second baseman, retreats to the bag, but the speed of Jose Altuve and the hustle and the distance that Espinosa had to go to make the play was the difference. Chase ball 4, but look at the speed of Altuve, who has 24 stolen bases on the year and now an infield single.
95 base hits on the year now for Altuve. But the Astros runners on the corners with 2 down. That'll bring up George Springer. And Springer hit by a pitch, a couple of flyouts, 0 for 2. And a score to run for Houston with a 4-3 lead. And all of a sudden there's activity in the Nationals bullpen. Right fielder George Springer steps in.
0 for 2. He's hit both balls on the screws tonight. A line out to Denard Span. And last time up sent Jason Worth to the track in right center field. He's seeing it big tonight.
And the 1-0 to Springer. 90 from Detwiler.
Fastball, a little 2-seam action, kind of running away from Springer to a pull swing, and like I said last time, does not get cheated.
And the count's even at 1-1. That ball inside for a ball. 2-1. Gio Gonzalez went 5 innings tonight, gave up the 4 runs. And the 5 hits.
It's a bear in the cave.
Yep.
Getting loose.
Young Mississippi guy. Ball gets away from Leon, heading for the plate. Leon with a toss to Detwiler, and safe at home is Grossman, and the Astros have a 5-3 lead. Well, that hurts. And Altuve all the way down to second base.
Well, yeah, that hurts because it's the 5th run of the game for the Astros. They take a 2-run lead. Now Jose Altuve at second base and a 3-1 count for George Springer. And we'll see how they rule that. A wild pitch or a pass ball. Either way, it gets by Leon. Detwiler late covering, and Grossman beats it. Leadoff walks have a tendency to score.
And it is a wild pitch charge to Detwiler to allow that run to score. So Houston 5 and the Nationals 3. A huge run. And Springer on. And a visit from Nats pitching coach Steve McCanty to Ross Detwiler. With 2 out and 1 run in the 7th.
I mean, he made a pitch to Jose Altuve. He just chopped it in a hole where nobody was. Probably thought he was out of the inning. Now he's got to regroup.
That's the first walk given up by Ross. He struck out a couple. Matt still has his workout out for him with Altuve down at second. And John Singleton, the Astros first baseman, waiting to step in. Detwiler did not pitch last night. Blevins did not pitch. Everybody else did. With the left-handed batting Singleton will take ball one. Detwiler 43 pitches and 25 strikes. And the pitch held back. As you look to the bottom of the seventh, Rendon and Worth and LaRoche will be the national hitters. As the roles reverse from last night, the Nats trying to get back in this one. There goes the runner, and Singleton hit by the pitch. Second hit batter tonight. And the Astros have the bases loaded with 2 outs.
And that's going to do it for Ross. Here comes Matt Williams. And another tough outing for Ross Detwiler. It started good with a 1-2-3-6. But with 2 outs and nobody on here in the seventh, the wheels have come off for Ross.
Matt Williams takes the ball. Ross Detwiler heads to the bullpen. This call to the bullpen packaged by the UPS Store, your one-stop shop for all your small business needs. Let us handle your mailbox service needs. We love logistics. Ross Detwiler's night is over. Nats need 2 in a hurry. PNC Bank for the achiever in you, and by our Washington BMW centers. Astros with a lead of 5-3 on 8 hits. Astros 5-6-0. Nationals 8 hits and only 3 runs. And Aaron Barrett comes out of the bullpen as Detwiler's night is over. 26th appearance for Aaron, and a record of 2-0 and an outstanding earned run average.
Well, it's a ball game right here. And Aaron Barrett at times has had control issues and a tough situation for him here with bases loaded, 2 outs.
Pitched 1/3 last night out of the pen. And the sacks are loaded for the Astros, all the responsibility of Ross Detwiler, who gave up 1 run, 1 hit Couple of strikeouts, couple of walks, and 1 2/3 innings of work. Dominguez with a swing and a miss, and it's 1-1. Dominguez has gone down on strikes twice tonight. The Astros third baseman hitting .254, and Barrett blows that one by him, 86.
Might have crossed up Sandy Leon right there. I don't know if he was expecting the slider. I'm going to go out and have a chat with Aaron Barrett. I mean, he caught it okay, but just his reaction, as soon as he catches it, he runs to the mound.
Yeah, you can see that, yeah.
Timeouts.
Yeah, telling Larry, hold on 1 second, Larry.
And he could have seen something in the background he didn't like, too, meaning the runner on second base.
Got Springer down at second and Altuve at third. And you got Singleton just hit by a pitch at first. Bases loaded, 2 down. In the 7th, and Barrett with a bouncing ball.
Jose Altuve tried to field.
trying to pick it off himself.
Now that's funny. He's in foul territory, so if he fields it, it's a foul ball. But watch Jose Altuve right here. Top of your screen. I'm going to make the play. Nope. That's good stuff.
He loves the game, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. When he beat out that infield hit to get on base, he was celebrating, applauding his own effort, crossing the bag. Bouncing ball to Desmond. Tosses to Espinosa. Nice job by Aaron Barrett, same as last night. The Honda do-ups for the Nationals. Let's take a look as we head to the bottom of the 7th. Anthony Rendon will lead it off. Nats need some runs in a hurry. They're down by 2 to the Astros. Nationals host the Atlanta Braves for a big weekend series tomorrow night, the first of 4 at Nats Park. Gavin Floyd, who's 1-2, will be up against Jordan Zimmerman, 5-3. It's really a battle for first place in the East of the National League beginning tomorrow night, 6:30. The Nats Extra on Masson. Here tonight, it's a battle as well. Coming up tomorrow night, Gavin Floyd, 2.98 earned run average. Same for Zimmerman. Identical number, 2.98.
And Jordan Zimmerman has been as good as he's ever been the last 3 starts. And the Braves are struggling a little bit, but don't let that fool you. They know they've got a little ownage on the Nats, and that has to change. But first things first. Big inning for the Astros with Rendon, Worth, and LaRoche due up.
And Rendon trying to pick up where he left off last night with 3 hits. Got a base hit in this ball game in the first, and a stolen base. In fact, 2 stolen bases. He will lead off, followed by Worth, and then Adam LaRoche. 5-3 Astros, bottom of the 7th at Nationals Park. Houston's really turned things around from last year. They've won 5 more games this season at this stage of the game, of the season, as it was compared to last year. 27-45 after 72 games last year. Now it's 32-40. A little improvement. But the Nationals trying to get that 37th win. Extend that half-game lead over the Braves, who've already lost.
Well, they say Saturday is moving day on the PGA Tour. This is moving time right now for the Nats.
And Rendon, a shot to left field. That one is going way back, way back. Home run for Anthony Rendon to lead off the 7th. And it's a 5-4 Houston lead. Boy, did he get that one, FP?
Boy, he loves playing the Astros. And everybody back home in Houston. It's a member of the Anthony Rendon family fired up for his 10th home run of the year. Tying this one up, or making it 5-4, excuse me. Fastball up and in, and knew he got it. Left center field in the red seats. And that was not a cheap one, making this a 1-run ball game instantly.
38th RBI for Rendon. And as FP mentioned, his 10th home run of the year. And the Nats within striking distance now, down by a run. Wood steps in. Strikeout, walked, stolen base, and a run and a fly out. 5-4 at 10 o'clock here in Washington. And the count's 2 balls and no strikes.
Maybe pumping right here if he gets a strike.
And for Josh Zide, that's only his 3rd home run he's given up all year. Worth will foul it back out of play up to the right.
So came in 7 for 14 with 6 RBI. Let's make that 9 for 18 now. With 7 RBI and a home run.
And a good look at the Houston native from Rice University, Lamar High School. And the 2-1.
Loves playing the Astros.
So Zide struggling a little bit. The Nationals wanted to get to the bullpen. They've done just that. In the count 3-1 to Jason Worth. Aaron Downs working out there with Farnsworth. And they both pitched last night. And Worth's on. So a home run by Rendon, a walk to Jason Worth, 2 up and 2 on. And nobody out in the 7th.
Well, you think it'd be Downs for LaRoche and Farnsworth for Zimmerman and Desmond. Let's check out the 10th home run for Anthony Rendon. Look how short the stride is. Just a throw of the bat head. So compact. And there's so much power in that swing. And the extension is where you get the backspin. Look at the extension. And he knew he got him right away. Look at that. That's a great shot. Double-digit home run guy in the big leagues now. It's official. Hit speed 97 miles an hour.
Topping last year's mark of home runs as Bo Porter has made a visit to the mound. Look what his numbers were against Houston. Zide is done. And then will come from the bullpen, Darwin Downs. And we'll be back in a moment with a 5-4 Houston lead. It's a 5-4 ball game. We're in the 7th. And the Nationals got Jason Worth down at first base. Nobody out. Don't forget, coming up, the Braves begin a very important series against the Nationals tomorrow night. Want to be with us for the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report tomorrow, 5 to 6:30. The guys will take a look at a tight race atop the NL East. Mel Antonin reviews the series history between Atlanta and Washington. That's tomorrow night, 5 to 6:30. Before Ray and I hit the air, before Bob and FP take you through game 1 of 4 with Houston. Darwin Downs, who pitched last night, FP out of the bullpen for a second consecutive night.
We have 4-pitch guy, fastball 89, slider 84. Curveball averages 73, and he throws a changeup 10% of the time at 84.
Gave up a hit and 2 runs last night. Out of the bullpen with a 208 earned run average. He'll face LaRoche. And then Ryan Zimmerman would be next. Astros 5, the Nationals 4. Nats out hitting the Astros by 3, 9 to 6. And trying to make this 7th inning a big inning. And the pitch to LaRoche. 1 ball and a strike. Darwin Downs. And the left-hander delivers. That's low for a ball.
Well, normally in a 1-run game, if you're Jason Worth, you might think about having the 6th steal of the night for the Nats. But with the shift they have on, you usually leave that hole open. But Altuve standing in that hole. That's why you hang around if you're a base runner with a lefty up, especially a guy like LaRoche. It's a pool guy to leave that hole open. But right now, it's not there. So if Jason Worth gets a read on Darren Downs, he might go.
Darren from Southfield, Michigan. That's 6'3", 210. He's got the count even up to LaRoche. LaRoche pops it behind second. Base hit. Worth not breaking stride at all. He'll go standing up into third. As LaRoche loops a single into center, runners at the corner, and still nobody out.
What a great read by Jason Worth. Nobody out. He knew where his outfield was playing. He always checks his outfield after every pitch. For you kids at home, it's a great lesson. When you get on first base, get your sign, check your outfield, but check your outfield every pitch because they move around based on the count, based on the pitch. And watch Worth. He knows right away, like there's 2 outs, he reads it. Nobody out, right in the face of Dexter Fowler. So a great read by Jason Worth, one of the best base runners in the National League. So runners at the corner, nobody out, moving time.
And LaRoche has his second base hit of the night. And that's going to be it for Darren Downs. A quick appearance as Bo Porter goes back to his bullpen again, trying to hang on to a 1-run lead.
sandwich right there. Jason Worth on third, Adam LaRoche on first, and Mr. Clutch in the middle, Ryan Zimmerman. And this is the proverbial right man in the right spot with runners at the corners, nobody out, facing Kyle Farnsworth, who came in last night throwing 95 miles an hour, but you see the strikeout to walk ratio, 18-14. You got to get him in the strike zone. The fastball average is 93, the slider 84, and the changeup he rarely throws at 86.
He will face Ryan Zimmerman. Still nobody out. 1 run in. Jason Worth, after motoring around from first, at third. Adam LaRoche, a base hit at first. Nationals' 10th hit of the night. This game, like last night, over 3 hours old. Nats had a 2-0 lead into the fourth. Houston struck for 4 runs in that fourth inning. Let's see what Zen can do against Farnsworth. Takes a pitch low.
I think Farnsworth got Zimmerman last night in the 6th inning looking on a fastball. And it was a fastball down the way.
Farnsworth second among active pitchers in career appearances. Almost 860. Began the year with Tampa Bay, released, then signed a minor league contract with the Pirates. "37 years old, from Wichita, Kansas. He got a 1-1 count to Ryan Zimmerman after his second base hit of the night. There's the pitch. Bouncing ball foul. And the count's 1-2.
Well, Ryan Zimmerman's looking for something elevated right now that he can lift to the outfield at the very least. He got a couple of fastballs up high, but he's such a top-hand guy that kind of rolled over on both of them. And we've seen him do some of his best work this year with 2 strikes, where he spreads out, he starts thinking about the other way. Yeah, Beard's on the corners. He's trying to get him in. There's one Beard. There's another Beard.
There's another one.
And he can't wait to get back in there. He's chomping at the bit. Early July, first week. That's what we're hoping.
And the 1-2. Bouncing ball to second. Altuve will try to go for 2. On the short on the first. Pulls the first baseman off the bag, and a run scores. We got a tie ball game.
Great slide by Adam LaRoche. That's how you play the game. Ryan Zimmerman screaming down the line, trying to get that RBI and keep it from being a rally kill in double play. He did a nice job of getting down there. Jason Worth, great base running, creating that run. But all night long, I mean, I think the theme of this game has been the Nationals running the bases. 5 stolen bases to this point. Jason Worth going first to third, and watch Adam LaRoche going hard at second base and altering the throw of Jonathan Villar. He jumped, he looked at LaRoche, he didn't even look at his target, and Zimmerman with a hard 90 like he always does, beating it out. So what looked like a potential double play turns into an RBI.
And Jim back to first quickly. So the Nats have tied it up here in the 7th at 5-5. And still 1 down. And Desmond to try to see what he can do against Kyle Farnsworth. Here's the pitch. Shot down the left field line. That's fair. Zimmerman rounding second. He'll be at third. Henley will hold him up at third, and motoring into second with a double is Desmond. Great hit by Ian.
Well, how it caromed off the wall down there in that tricky corner determined whether Bob Henley sent Ryan Zimmerman. And this is well played by Robbie Grossman down there. Ballpark that he's only played 2 games in. You see the double. Great swing by Desmond. Ball caroms off, and he plays it perfectly with good hustle. Bare hand right on the money. Bob Henley retreating almost all the way to the right-handed batter's box to give himself perspective, and he looks to his third base coach, puts the brakes on, and Bo Porter brings his infield in. Runners on second, third, one out. Moving time.
And a golden opportunity for Danny Espinosa with those two runners down at second and third. And as FP said, the infield is in. And Farnsworth in some deep trouble right now. Only one away. And a pitch out.
Well, a guy that has two base hit bunts tonight, you can't blame Bo Porter for pitching out right there in an 0-0 count.
Single in the second, single in the sixth.
Both bunt singles, both to second base.
Almost identical bunts, weren't they?
8 base hit bunts this year. The number on his back.
What a coincidence. Here's the 1-0. Foul back out of play.
Somebody missed a sign. That was supposed to be a pitch out, and it was a strike by Farnsworth. You see Jason Castro jumping out for the pitch out?
Yep.
Watch this. Bo Porter went back-to-back pitch outs right here, but somebody missed a sign. Watch Castro. Let's pitch out again. That was a strike on pitch track. And if Danny Espinosa doesn't swing, maybe the Nats are up by 1, but how did he know what's going on behind him?
Farnsworth looking in. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out.
Well, this might just be a flat-out walk to Danny Espinosa, and they're pitching out in case the squeeze is on. But that was supposed to be the third pitch out in a row.
To get to Sandy Leon, who's waiting on deck.
Well, the one thing the Nats have done all season long, if you've watched any games, is fight, battle to the very end.
Yeah, that they have.
Nats fans know that. They see them every night, but this club does this on a daily basis. Doesn't always work out in the end, but they're going to fight you.
And we're seeing it again tonight. Down by 2. And back to tie it at 5. Well, Farnsworth battling with Danny Espinosa. Target outside.
Now this is just a walk.
Yeah.
This is just a fancy intentional walk. But as a hitter right here, Johnny, you have to be ready for a strike. Especially if it gets to a 3-2 count. But I think they're going to put Espinosa on. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that will load the bases with Espinosa.
You could pinch hit for Sandy Leon right here. If you're Matt Williams, we'll see how he plays it. Only one other extra catcher on the bench in the form of Jose Lobaton. But Nate McLouth is strolling out, and I think he's going to hit.
And McLouth has got 5 RBIs this year. So the Nationals load him up. Here the 7th, tie game at 5-5. And what a golden opportunity for Nate McLouth. McLouth 2 for 10 as a pinch hitter this year. And Farnsworth has nowhere to put McLouth. Still 1 away. Fly ball to left. Drifting back is Grossman. He's got it. That should score a run. Tagging up at third and heading home.
Boy, a risky play. Risky play by Ian Desmond right there on the backside. Great at bat by Nate McLouth. But if Desmond is tagged out at third before Ryan Zimmerman crosses the plate, the run doesn't count. And it was pretty close at third base with a good throw. Irrelevant at this point. A great at bat by Nate McLouth.
And good to give the Nationals a 6-5 lead. McLouth drives in his 6th run of the season.
Man, it's not easy to sit around for 3 hours, walk up there and slap 95 into left field for the go-ahead run in the 7th inning. Great at bats.
No, there's 2 down, but still. Nats have got 2 guys in the bases. Now to bring up Greg Dobbs to hit. Bouncing ball to second. Altuve's got it on the first. And the inning is over. But not before the Nationals come up with 3. And they take a 6-5 lead. And leading off this inning, Anthony Rendon goes deep with his 10th home run of the season. Had 7 all of last year. And the Nats up by a run.
Eighth inning, Nate McLouth off the bench. Matt Williams decided to pinch hit for Sandy Leon. He gets a first pitch fastball, elevated, good extension, sends it all the way to the track, hit about 330 feet down the line. And watch Ian Desmond just getting into third base as Ryan Zimmerman scores. There was no tag at third. Just got my heart rate up a little bit higher than it needed to be. But a nice at bat by Nate McLouth off the bench.
So Tyler Clippard's on now for the Nationals. Jose Lobaton will catch with Sandy Leon out of the ball game. And Clippard comes in for his 2nd consecutive night. Had a pretty rough outing last night, but watch him bounce back in this one.
Well, the best thing for a reliever when you have a tough one is to get right back on the mound. You don't want to sit around for 3 days and stew about it. You want to get right back out there and forget about last night. And all good relievers have amnesia.
Yep, can't remember anything. 2.40 earned run average for Clippard.
Exactly, Ron.
Nice, very nice. Used to wear your shoes as a kid, PFs. So Clippard will face Jason Castro in the Astros 8th. Now Houston's got to pull some magic if they want to get back in this thing. VR and then Grossman.
Well, they did a quick style to Tyler Clippard last night. A lot of first pitch hacking by the Astros. They were on the first pitch fastball.
Jason Castro, a strikeout, RBI double, and a ground out tonight.
So weird the way this game is shaped up. Castro led off the 8th last night with a single. We already talked about the 4th inning last night. Bases loaded, nobody out for both pitchers. Tanner Roark last night, Gio Gonzalez today. At the same part of the order, Jose Altuve led off the 4th. Both nights in a row.
Almost identical innings. Here's the pitch from Clippard. Skies it to center. Span drifting back. Makes that one-handed grab, and there's one down.
Follow every Nationals game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store. Visit Nationals.com right now.
Up will come the Astros shortstop. Jonathan VR. Another one of those 22-year-old young guys playing for Houston. At his major league debut last year. He'll take a ball. Has not played any other position except shortstop the last 6 years in the minor leagues. Signed as a 17-year-old free agent in the Dominican Republic. A high pop to LaRoche at first. Yeah, there's 2 up and 2 down. Robbie Grossman to follow. Nationals 6 and the Astros 5 in the top of the 8th. That's trying to make 7 of their last 8 games at home in the win column. And trying to sweep not only this little 2-game series from Houston, but the season series, winning 2 in Houston and 2 here. And that bat's really coming alive the last couple of innings. It total up to 11 now. He starts off Grossman with a strike.
We kind of had a feeling based on numbers alone that if you got into the Astros bullpen, you'd have a chance to jump back into this ball game.
And a shot foul down the right side. And
nice play.
Nice catch by the ball girl. I'm going to give that young guy right there. Take it.
And then he gave it to his buddy. And he dropped it. Air Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
But he was giving it to that kid.
That's nice.
It's great.
Robbie Grossman from San Diego, California. Strikeout, fly out, a walk, and scored a run for the Astros. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. With 2 away in the 8th. And the pitch, check swing, fouled on the third base side.
Pretty good split right there by Clippard.
Grossman, one of those Texas kids, grew up in Cypress, Texas, after being born in San Diego. Had the club's longest hitting streak last year, 14. That ball off the bat as Grossman's backing away. And count goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Going with the split.
Great pitch. Grossman looking, and it's a 1-2-3-8 for Tyler Clippard. Nice job for the Nats reliever. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Nationals with a 1-run lead, 6-5.
Nats after a 3-run frame. You can win signed gear courtesy of Masson. Follow at Masson Nationals on Instagram and tag your Nats fan photos with hashtag Masson Nationals to be automatically entered to win an autographed memorabilia Johnny Holiday tie. It also doubles as a tablecloth. Being social with Masson has its rewards.
That's beautiful. And it's true.
You dress very smart.
I was going to say like one of your sport coats, but I didn't want to go there. It's one of Ray's sport coats, right?
Well, you look at the averages. Opponents hit just 167 against Sip. Lefties 097. Righties a little better chance. But we watched him last night. A little short arm fastball at 92. Plays a little bit quicker than that. At least it appeared to. Slider 81, and he loves the changeup at 78.
Came in also last night, went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a base hit. Left-hander Tony Sipp becomes the 5th pitcher for the Astros tonight.
Well, Nata dude sticking it out. Pops brought his picker. He brought his picker. Bring your gloves to the yard. I love it.
He'll face the top of the Nationals order. Denard Span, Anthony Rendon, who homered last inning, and then Jason Worth. Span last time a big RBI double, got thrown out at 3rd to end the 6th inning. And Span's average at now 270 with a home run and 15 RBIs. 6-5 Nats in the last of the 8th. The Braves losing. The Nats have a 1-game lead over their Atlanta in the National League East. Van fouls it off in the stands down to the left. So far this month, 9-6 record for the ball club. And when the Nationals score at least 6 runs, they have lost 1 game, winning 20. And they got 6 tonight, 6-5 lead. And the pitch to Span. Grossman back, and there's 1 down.
Well, here's the man of the night. And basically the man against the Houston Astros. 9 for 18 facing the Astros this year. And this was the 9th hit. 10th home run of the year. And let off the party in the 7th inning. The 3-run 7th inning, where the Nats took a 1-run lead. Ian Desmond take his helmet off. First pitch right in the power zone.
Second time he's homered against the Astros this year. And Sipp delivers.
It was similar to the one Rendon hit in San Diego. I mean, that was just crushed. A big boy home run in a ballpark where balls don't go. Upper deck, left center field. Same swing, really pulled his hands in, really didn't get a whole lot of extension. Just generates so much power from A to B, where his hands start into the contact zone. Quick.
That's fouled out of play. Tony Sipp just hit 95 on that previous pitch. Ahead in the count for Rendon. No balls and 2 strikes. Rendon average now up to 274 with a couple of hits tonight. And those stolen bases as well. Nats have stolen 4 early in this game in 3 innings. No balls and 2 strikes to the Nats third baseman. And Rendon strikes out. Out number 2. Tony Sipp's first strikeout. And with 2 down, up will come Jason Worth for the 4th time, 5th time. Jason scored a run the last time up after walking. And steps in with a .281 batting average. And he starts off 94 against Jason Worth.
Just love Jason's body language when he thinks a pitch is a ball. He's just totally, thoroughly disgusted. But never really shows the umpire up. You just got to know Jason Worth's mannerisms to know what he's saying without saying a word.
And the pitch. That's low. FP, a very interesting guy.
He is. Yeah. He's a winner. He's changed the way this franchise thinks about baseball, and it was a deal that was highly criticized in the baseball world when it was first announced. And from where I'm sitting, it looks pretty good.
And very few guys play the game as hard and the way it's supposed to be played as Jason Worth does. Hits it to center, drifting back. Fowler and back in the warning track. He's got it. And it's a 1-2-3 eighth inning for Tony Sipp out of the Astros bullpen. Rafael Soriano awaits the call. We head to the top of the ninth.
Opportunity. We go to the top of the ninth inning, 6-5 Nationals. And how about Nate McLouth off the bench? The bench guy's getting it done. Seventh inning. Matt Williams making a move, pinch hitting for his catcher, Sandy Leon, throwing Nate McLouth up there in the eighth spot. He drives one deep to left field. Ryan Zimmerman hustling all the way through home plate. Great job on his part because there was some action going on behind him. But Nate McLouth getting it done off the bench, putting the Nats up by 1.
Soriano's earned run average at 1.33. 28th appearance. FP mentioned 14 saves, 4 runs, 16 hits, only 4 earned runs. Giving up a home run, walked 10, struck out 23. And opponents hitting 176.
Well, he's going to face Chris Carter off the bench to lead this thing off.
Even though Carter's batting average, FP, under 200, 192, he's got 13 home runs and 30 RBIs.
Warm night. Keep the ball down. Go right after him.
And Carter scored 24 times. And the pitch is low for ball. That's 3 outs away. They got a 6-5 lead in the top of the ninth. Breaking ball outside. And the 2-0.
Bell-tie fastball right down the middle, fouled it straight back.
Good look at Chris Carter. And the count even at 2-2. Is yet to get a hit as a pinch hitter. He's 0 for 4.
Tried to hold up his swing, and Larry Vanover didn't even appeal it. He saw it himself, called it a strike.
And the 2-2. Popped up behind the plate. That's going to be out of play.
Well, when you're ahead, you don't need a rally hat on. You can use it as a glove. Nice play on the hop, using the lid as a picker. That was solid. I'll give that a star.
Yeah. An FP star. Hard to earn, believe me. And the 2-2 again to Carter. That's foul. And Carter working Soriano. Scoreless relief for Raphael in 24 of 27 appearances out of the bullpen. That's foul back out of play. Last night came in for the 9th. 1 walk. That was it. 6-5 last night. Nats win. 6-5. They lead tonight.
It's a dangerous place to live in a one-run game.
You're not kidding.
Everything up.
Took something off that and strikes out Carter. Boy, nice pitch after.
That might have been the best pitch I've seen Raphael throw all year. Late slider, lots of break on it. And in a big situation where Chris Carter just had a pitch to drive, this one looks like a strike for about 58 feet and breaks off the plate late. And a big first out here in the 9th.
Now Dexter Fowler, top of the order with Altuve on deck. One down, 9th inning.
And that guy's on deck.
Yeah, that guy. And the 1-0. Inside for a ball. Major League hit leader, Altuve. But on Soriano's mind right now is getting rid of Fowler.
I'd have jogged back into the dugout to grab a different bat.
That's fouled back.
Good cut fastball, late movement right on the hands. Still battling from behind the count.
Battle last night, a couple of hits. Got one tonight. And Soriano battling Fowler, even up the count of 2-2. One out in the 9th, nobody on. And the Nats fans kind of getting into it now. That pitch is high. Nats trying to hand the Astros only their 6th loss the last 12 games.
Big pitch coming.
Dexter Fowler, a 1-for-3 night. Count is full. Stays alive, fouls it out of play. Ray Knight and Byron Kerr next with Nats Extra. When this one's over, we hope it's going to be over quickly. And then Gavin Floyd against Zimmerman, the opener, the first of 4 with the Atlanta Braves. And Ray now will kick things off at 6:30, hand it off to Bob at FP after that. And a huge series if the Nats can win this one. They got a game and a half lead over Atlanta in the East. Braves already lost today. 6-11-0 for the Nationals, 5-6-0 for the Astros, with 1 away in the 9th inning. Bouncing ball to Espinosa at second on the LaRoche, and there's 2 up and 2 down in the 9th for Rafael Soriano. And the Nationals 1 out away from the victory and taking the season series.
And honor my partner. That was some serious jammage right there by Rafael Soriano. Good pitch. The cutter's cutting. Made 3-4 good pitches in a 3-2 count. And now the biggest out of the night and the littlest guy in the field.
And probably the most dangerous of all the Astro hitters, too. Jose Altuve facing Rafael Soriano. And takes the ball. Into a double play in the first. Walk, scored a run in the 4th. Popped out in the 5th. Banged out a single in the 7th. Hitting .326. And from the right side, a heck of a player. And here's the 1-0 pitch to him. Line drive in the gap between Zimmerman and Span. Around will cut it off. Altuve had an ocean for second. Nice throw into second, and Altuve wisely back to first. But Houston stays alive with a base hit by Altuve.
Well, the Nats outfield playing no doubles, meaning nothing hit over your head. You cut down the angles in the gap, but Ryan Zimmerman got to this ball nice, got to it quick, and got it back in quick. More importantly, Altuve can run. We've seen it all night. An infield single his last time up. And he went about halfway to second base, but Ryan got to it, got rid of it quick.
Whoops. Not going to take a chance.
Held Altuve to a single. Nice play by Zimmerman.
Well, Altuve back-to-back hits his last 2 times at the plate. That'll bring up George Springer with 2 outs in the 9th. And Springer, fly out, hit by a pitch. Walk, has scored a run. And Soriano with a count of no balls and a strike to the Astros right fielder. And it's 1-1.
Altuve 24 for 27 at first base.
And the rookie Springer in the top 10 among all the rookies in Major League Baseball. And missed on that one badly.
I think if you're Bo Porter, you send Altuve right here in a 2-strike count.
Well, he's got 24 stolen bases. And Jose Lobaton and Soriano trying to keep him close to first. With a 1-2 count on George Springer. Fouled off at the plate. And Springer stays alive. In the American League, the Rookie of the Month last month. And came up from AAA on April 16th. 248 average, 36 driven in, 31 runs scored. His job to get Altuve around. The Nationals clinging to a 1-run lead in the 9th inning. And the pitch, swing and a miss. And that's it. The Nationals have come from behind And they knock off the Astros back-to-back nights, 6-5.
That's a gutty performance again tonight. You knew if they got in the Astros bullpen, they had a chance. They've been doing this all year, fighting from behind. And the bullpen getting the job done, the bench getting the job done. It's clicking, folks. And the guy with makeup and glasses on says, bring on the Braves.
Get time to celebrate as Atlanta comes to town tomorrow night. Nationals coming back with a big come-from-behind 6-5 win over the Astros. That is their 17th come-from-behind win this season.